Okie dokie, artichokes.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only local live streaming in-person arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the brand new NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene, and tonight we're here with Scranton punk rock band Old Daggers. Before we dive in, I just want to thank our sponsor, Center City Print, who provided us with this lovely space. They have 3 locations in Scranton, Kingston, and the new Hazleton store to bring your ideas to life. These one-stops are locally owned and printed and design solutions to help you, your small business, or your nonprofit organization thrive. You can visit them now at centercityprint.com. And I also want to thank Ionic Development for helping us set up our live stream and producing behind the scenes, making sure everything's run smoothly. So thank you, Teresa, for making this happen tonight. And all right, so let's start by you guys introducing yourselves and what position you are in the band.
We start. Okay, I'm Chris. Mostly rhythm guitar and backing vocals.
Anthony, lead guitar and backing vocals.
I'm Gabe and I play drums.
Sean, bass and vocals.
Lead vocals.
Lead vocals.
Lead vocals.
Yeah, it's a leader. It's a lead.
So let's go all the way back to whatever the beginning is for you. What got you interested in music originally? What made you first pick up an instrument?
That is a loaded question.
Yeah.
How much time we got?
We're going back to the start.
Absolutely.
Probably the episode of Saved by the Bell where they were saved, where they were playing as California Dreams. Yeah, like no, Zack Attack. That's what it was called. Zack Attack.
Right.
Yeah. Ever since then, I thought to myself, I could do that. You know, I had blonde hair. I wanted to live at the beach. I thought I could.
You lived in Wilkes-Barre instead.
You were still trying to live up to it.
Yeah. No, I remember I always sang for punk bands like when I was like 13, 14 years old. Like, you know, we would just be like fucking around in like a basement or something. And one day it was just like I wanted to do more. So I just kind of picked up a bass. It seemed easy enough. Came to find out it's not. And it kind of from there, and then later I wanted to also get back into singing and playing. So I made it a point to, you know, really learn how to balance both. I mean, I still don't do it well as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I guess it was my stepdad Lou had a so I've grown up watching them. And just a drummer named Joey Popacek play, and I said I want to be like that guy, and that's what I did. You know, so for me, that was simple as that. You know.
I don't know. I was just drawn to it naturally, I guess, at a young age. I didn't have like a parent in the house that was super into music, or even a whole lot of friends growing up that was super into music. It just always spoke to me. So I kind of grew up on the, I guess, MTV watching music videos going like, man, that seems like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then I think when I was like 13, I finally just asked my dad, like, I want to play an instrument. I got a bass and started on bass and actually found it too easy.
And your dad played guitar.
Yeah, but he wasn't
more of a collector.
Around, yeah. So,
yeah, he was more of a collector than anything. But yeah, I was just always naturally drawn to it. Even when I remember my mom telling me I'd be like 2-3 years old, just like with a pencil beating on books, drumming. And that was really it. It was just always in me.
for me, it was actually starting to go to shows. I didn't start playing anything until I was like freshman in college. And I picked up bass first. About 2 months after I learned how to sort of play, got invited to play in a hardcore band locally, and
That's how it works.
and eventually I switched over to guitar. off and on, different bands, different things between bass and guitar for the past 25-ish, okay, 30 years. 30 years, yeah, 30 years sounds right. So,
I'm going on 30.
exactly. So it's like,
We're old
I just
now.
got late in
It's
the game,
okay.
late in the game with it, but
You know, Old Daggers.
yeah, it was going to shows and I'm seeing people and going, I want to do that. I don't want to be sitting in the outside.
Yeah.
I want to be on the inside.
Better be on the other side.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Want to make them move.
Does that, you made the joke, Old Daggers, that is play into the age part at all, or that's just the name you guys landed on?
Kind of like an inside
The
joke.
youngest person in the band is the one that floated the
It wasn't even that like I came up with
Young
the idea. I was really into the Blood Brothers growing up, so my Instagram name is like Young Machetes something.
Okay. Yeah.
So Gabe just threw out one day, he was like, well, you're Young Machetes on Instagram, we should be Old Daggers. And then it just stuck.
Yeah,
Just the opposite. Yeah.
it definitely stuck.
We definitely get asked about the name, but I mean, when we were kind of like shopping around names, I mean, like we threw out tons of different stuff that just like didn't click, and then I don't know, that one
It kind of makes sense too, like
yeah,
for like a lot of the style of like Sean's writing too. It's like if you think about Old Daggers, it's like Old Daggers in the heart type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
shit.
Sure.
Like you can look at it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
people
lot of
staring daggers
focus,
at you.
a lot of
Yeah.
focus on the past and old
Yeah.
wounds.
Oh, yeah.
Old
and-
wounds,
Old
stuff
wound-
like
yeah.
that. So it kind of, all that aside, the Young Machetes thing, it worked. So as soon as we said it, it was like, yeah, that kind of, because we had the music first, you know.
Yeah,
So
it was just like, that's the one.
yeah, it
It's
kind of
weird.
slid in.
It made sense, especially like in like the context. I mean, to
Right.
us at least, when it came down to like lyrically and musically, it really it gets to the point. It's like this is like shit like that's happened. It's shit that we've dealt with. It's stuff that like now we're talking about and we're singing
Dealing
about
with.
and dealing with, and this is the best way to do it. And we're getting it out there and kind of like letting everybody know that's ever gone through it before. It's like, here's a good outlet for you. It's like not alone sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
How now did you guys get together during the pandemic, or?
Yeah, I think it was
Summer of 2020,
Right in
August
it,
of 2020.
and we weren't doing anything clever. We were in a band, kind of split up.
And then Old Daggers, the pandemic, or not Old Daggers, Black Nile.
Black
we were
Nile, we
together.
did.
That kind of collapsed at the
Right.
the onset of the pandemic. So we had a ton of like pretty decent out of town shows booked: New York, Philly, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And then the pandemic happened, everything got shut down, and then it kind of killed it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and then I was just hitting him up like, all right, what's your he's doing from the Wolves or whatever? Let's get something going.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it like one day Anthony kind of hit me up and he was like, hey, let's just get together and like play some music. And then we got together and it was just me and him at the Greenridge space.
Yeah.
We
Well,
were just messing around.
to preface it, I should say that obviously, me and Gabe, the last probably 7-8 years,
Yeah.
every band we've been a part of, pretty much we've been in together. Whether it was like Clever, Mercy Gang, Black Nile.
Yeah.
So we've been playing together for a long time, and me, Chris, and Sean in 2012, 2013
Sounds about right.
had
Yeah.
a band called We Be Wolves that fell apart. When that fell apart, I joined Clever, but for a long time after that, me, Chris, and Sean stayed friends, and it was always like, man, we got to do something together again. Like there was a magic in the room
Yeah.
when we played together. So it was always in the back of our heads for probably 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the timing really wasn't right. I mean, like, I have a kid, Chris has kids, like, it was like a balancing act with that and trying to like deal with like our own like, personal things throughout
especially
that time
during
period.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that one day Anthony was like, let's just get together and like just mess around for like an hour.
Yeah, I had some songs I had written that were going to be like a solo side project thing that I asked him to help me with.
So we just went up there, we messed
Which
around
we
for
did
an hour.
that for a while. I mean, that was aside, but
Yeah.
But then we got together and you
Minus
weren't
me.
even around. Yeah.
I hit
Yeah.
that jaded point, that like kind of that local scene midlife crisis where I was like, after Black Nile and Clever, I was like, I don't want to make music anymore. Like in my room at home, in the living room, it's fine, but I think I'm done with the band thing.
Yeah.
And that they wanted to still make music, so I kind of connected them. Where I was like, hey, I think Gabe's looking to do something. I know they're looking to do something. So you guys got together for what, a month or two?
Our first couple of jams, we had like 3 of the songs, like
May
2 of them
2012
are
was,
on
May
the
2012
record.
was actually like the first.
Yeah, and
that's what I sent
they were
you.
sending me the
I was-
demos because they were kind of harassing
I
me.
said, you gotta,
Oh, yeah, we were
I
totally
said,
harassing
you gotta get here.
and
man.
I was just like, man,
just show up.
I don't wanna. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm
There
done
was
with it.
there was nobody else in play.
Right.
It was
Just
like,
the three of
we weren't thinking of another guitar player another lead guitar player to step in.
No,
It was always like,
this. Yeah.
we know Anthony is going to come around to this. It's like, we'll just give him the time,
Yeah.
but we'll kind of like,
We'll
we're
build
going
it
to
and
build
he'll
it
come.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
type
they
shit.
sent
we
me-
definitely did a Field
You
of
sent me the
Dreams.
demo of I think May 2012.
Yeah.
And I heard it and I was like, all right, I'll come down to
And
it.
that was the first jam we had.
Yeah.
So we had that going.
Yeah,
and
that
then-
and 35 Summers, I think, were the two you
Yeah.
guys had somewhat
Yeah.
solid when I joined.
So, and then finally got him to come down.
And once I went down, I just never left.
was
I was
it,
like, all right,
yeah.
this I'm in.
And we didn't even really we weren't even thinking band at that point.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
let's
no.
just, it's
It was just more like we needed
pandemic
that.
still
Hang
fresh.
out.
Let's
Yeah, it
get
was
out of
cool.
our
Yeah.
houses and breathe.
Sure.
And-
Kind
Yeah,
of
I
what-
don't think
that
we
was it.
never
That
we
was
never went we never went into this thinking anything past like, all right, like we'll do a couple shows here and there if we want to. But like for the
Maybe,
most part,
yeah.
it's like we're just getting together and letting off that steam and just kind of venting and just getting together with friends. And I mean, and then
And at
all of a
that
sudden
point-
it started to kind of snowball.
Yeah,
from
we
that
were the
point.
old guys having the poker night in the basement.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Break
Yeah,
things,
that-
yeah.
that's accurate.
During the pandemic, you weren't sure, like, is there ever going to be shows again?
Right.
Is it ever,
Right,
Are we ever
yeah.
going to do? So I think what we really had in mind was just number one, getting together to jam, to vent, get the shit out.
And like
And then-
possibly record.
Yeah, number two is going to maybe do a record, and then,
And well, then we got hit up about doing the horror,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Horror
yeah,
Fest
yeah.
was
The
our
Horror
first
Fest.
show.
Yep.
and it was like because Bobby saw like a couple of our like stuff that we were posting like on social media, and we were like, yeah, we'll go, we'll play a couple songs. I think we had like what five in the bag,
Five.
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah, like let's just go.
We were a
It'll just
band
be-
for like 3 months.
yeah, it'll
Yep.
be fun. But then we got a reaction,
Yep.
and it was like, all right, well that's pretty rad. Like
Yeah,
like let's
it
kind of.
lit a little bit of an ember.
Yeah.
Not quite a fire.
And then all of a sudden, like we did another show, and it's like, shit, we got like another really positive reaction. And then it just kind of kept going and going
Yeah.
and going. And I mean, like, yeah, it just, yeah, it did. Like, it lit a fire under us to be
yeah,
like,
finally.
you know what, like we
Like,
should
wait,
actually
there's
be taking
something-
this out.
turn
Here,
it into
yeah.
a band, kind of,
Yeah.
So
There's something here that's connecting with people, and that gave us the drive to kind of push it from being a more casual getting out of the house thing to like, okay, let's actually put some time and effort and money into this. And
Well, I mean, like just playing out too. Like, I mean, I know for me, because I got like not disconnected from like the scene in general, but like I mean, like life goes on, and I mean, just trying to do other things. So this kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of like reconnect like a lot of people I haven't seen in years, a lot of people I haven't like had any real social interactions with past like social media. So I mean, it really kind of, I don't know, like lit that fire too, and it kind of sparked those old friendships again and like those old connections, and it, I don't know, it felt good, and like it was like I really want to keep doing this. And yeah, I mean, I think all of us are kind of like in that same boat because we're all busy all of the time. We all have like our own agendas and our own lives. But when we go out for like, those couple hours on a Saturday night, like, maybe like once, twice a month, I mean, it's just rad to see everybody.
it makes it worth it because, we're all got families and full-time jobs and stuff. So a lot of times on a Tuesday night, which is when we typically practice, it's like, we just worked 9, 10, 11, 12-hour shifts. We're exhausted. There's times I bring the microphone down and I sit and I'm like this the whole
You've
time.
been sitting down. I mean, you've been sitting down.
Just
a lot.
like-
You've been sitting down a lot.
You
I
know,
have to sit, unfortunately.
yeah, just kind of like powering through
I
it
don't
as
mind
best
it.
you can because you're just like you're tired and you want to go home,
Yeah.
eat dinner, and go to bed because you have another long day tomorrow, and
Mhm.
it stops you from going like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because when we go out, even when we played the Electric City Music Conference at the Bog, we were playing, and like we started seeing, for the first time, I started seeing like people singing along to our songs. Like it's like, holy shit, you know, people like it enough where they're listening to it where they know our words.
Yeah.
And that's like, to me, that's crazy. That's like the biggest thing in the world.
So
man.
that's
Like,
the only thing
holy-
I've ever wanted. Like for me,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is
I
I've
felt
always
like I was
so
touring the
cool,
world just by looking out and seeing three people
Yeah.
singing back to us.
That's probably like, I mean, you know, it is like I love that also, and for me it's like, I guess on like a kind of like a different level, because it's like those are the words I wrote,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
and now I'm hearing them back to me, and it's like shit.
You're
It's like,
connecting.
this is like, you get it, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
here.
you
It's
feel
like,
what I'm
this is
saying.
yeah, it's like this line in this song or this chorus or whatever, like this is important to you enough for you to remember it, and it's like, man, like that's the only thing any of us can ask throughout life, is just to kind of be remembered, and I just love that. Makes me feel great.
Well, yeah, a lot of it's the.
But that too, and just going out and seeing all the other bands around here.
Yeah,
because,
that's
like there's
The-
a lot
the-
of cool shit.
We've
The
touched on
biggest
it
thing
before,
that
man,
I've-
it's a
that I've
renaissance.
it is.
There's
There's
shit
so
coming
much
out
good
that's
stuff going
incredible.
on.
It's,
That
like, it's almost like the old days, not quite, but
Our biggest supporters, the people that tend to be at the shows screaming along with us, are the people that are in other bands.
yeah.
You know, and that's like that level of support in the scene wasn't always and isn't always a thing depending on where you're at.
Absolutely. Some people kind of treat things as a competition.
Yeah.
Yep.
or-
And that's the,
Well, that
that's
was
the very last
our
thing
experience.
that like, we ever want to have.
Right.
Is we will build up, we will promote any other band. I think just recently, Suburban Downgrade, like they had a show drop out from
Yeah,
the
the
very
show at
first
Nerd
thing that
Haven.
we did was we promoted it on our page. Like, hey, get these guys a show.
they need a show.
You know, like they need a show.
What's out there?
And they're fucking
We
killing
will-
it. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, like we will straightforward promote anybody and everybody, because I
We've been
mean,
there.
yeah, I mean, like we should be
And
building
we are
up each
there,
other and not tearing
basically.
down each other. I mean,
It
like
should be the
yeah.
community that
Yeah.
once existed.
I mean,
and
don't get me wrong.
has
I mean, like,
changed,
all of us
but
have,
it should
like,
go back to that.
Well, yeah, all of
And
us
it
have
is.
like that
It
shitty,
It absolutely
jaded
is.
part of us. Everybody
Yeah,
years ago, like, well, not years ago, but like when you're like younger, you have that jaded part of you where like you kind of gatekeep shit.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like an
Yeah.
asshole about things. You're just like, oh, that band's not good, blah blah blah.
Well, I think
But you
some
get
of
to it,
it's
but
part,
like now, it's like that shouldn't exist.
some
No.
people, like, you know, in the whole competition thing, I never really got that because, like, I think it is, we're all doing the same grind and doing the same shit.
We're all in the same exact boat.
But, like, you know, I've seen bands where I'm like, damn, man, and it's almost like an envy or a jealousy, like, oh, man, they're so good. I wish we were that good. But for me, that just makes me want to go support that.
Right.
Where maybe other people would be like, you know, like, hate on it or talk shit and just be like, you know, I've seen that before, but it's not really that prevalent in our area.
It's
because
not yet. It's
Like,
not
usually
like,
everybody's
don't-
pretty
like-
cool here.
Like there's stuff that's
We've
like,
seen it out of town.
yeah, there's stuff
Yeah.
that's like not in my wheelhouse, and stuff like I won't go out of my way to like listen to.
Yeah.
But I'll promote the shit out of it, and I will tell people to go and check it out when, like, you know, like they're in town or they have a show, because I mean, like,
There's
we have
human
to,
beings
we have to
trying
build up
to-
each other. I mean, because if you don't, like, all you're doing is just you're collapsing in on yourself, and it's gonna ruin everything.
and they're human beings just trying to find a
Right.
connection with other people just like we are.
Well, that, and I don't want to go and play a show and have a group off to the corner that's just fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Because
In their own
like
little corner.
because
Yeah,
like they have like their own little like
Yeah.
like going back to the gatekeeping piece, like that own like oh well, like they suck and blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, but like they don't, man, like they're doing what they do, it just doesn't fit your taste, like who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah, you'll have that sometimes, but like around here, and Rich, you talk to a lot of
Everybody.
bands.
Everybody.
For the most part, everybody I've ever seen you talk to is all cool and bands we respect and dig a lot. So.
Well, I think
But
for a while in
there
this,
is
I think
some
for
of
a
that.
while in this in northeastern Pennsylvania especially, we got spoiled in the 90s when
We
it
did.
came down to a
There's
lot of
no
bigger
question.
bands coming through, like with like CC's and
Dating
even like,
yourself.
you know, Mantis Green.
The
and-
Even
Metro
in my
and
day with the
Cafe
staircase and the
Metropolis.
zoo.
Anthony,
like,
Staircase,
CC's
but
was a
no, but I mean,
club
what I'm
in
saying is,
in 1990.
what I'm saying
It
is
burned down,
everybody wanted
questionably.
everybody wanted to show off. You know, so a lot of bands, all they wanted to do was show off.
But
You
they-
know,
they-
and it was all about them, and it wasn't about anybody around them, and it wasn't about the other bands.
You know, back then the hardcore scene at CC's
Was-
you
Well,
had
well,
like there
that's
was
what
a
I mean,
lot of
like-
like love, family, community
Yeah.
love, but there was like an element like there was a straight edge thing, and there was like the non-straight edge thing. Then there was like the red lace or
Yeah, there was a separation.
skinhead shit. But
It's
like
very fashion oriented.
CC's
Yes, I have my
was
straight edge tattoo.
CC's was crazy. That's where I
As you
came
drink a
up.
beer.
As
I
I drink
came
beer.
up like going to shows at CC's. That was where I learned about music, you know, and like what I dug. I love going to shows there and hardcore shows, and it'd be cool to have that again.
Yeah. I missed that whole era.
I think one of the things.
Did.
I think one of
Man,
the
did
things
you
right
miss it.
now
Just
is.
missed it.
I think COVID kind of changed a lot of things because I feel like now people don't take shows and they don't take bands that are coming from their area for granted. Like it's almost like, hey, like this can like honestly be gone tomorrow. Like I might not be able to go out of my house
That's a
and go
good
and see
point.
it.
It
Yeah.
should be looked
You
at
know?
that way, I think, because you know, you're right. You never know. I mean, that shit shut everything down, and for a minute, everybody was just like,
Listen,
whoa.
man, somebody turned the fucking can around and showed everybody our shelf life, and you know, it's
Right.
like
Right.
do what you can with the time that you got. You know, like.
For sure.
Because and enjoy
Because
the
it could all
shit
be
out of
gone.
it. Yeah,
That's-
it could
that's a
be
great
gone
point,
in a
man.
second.
I agree. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. You should, you know.
I mean, like we honestly like going back to the point of like pumping everybody else up. I mean, like honestly, there's not one band that we've played with that I don't love. Like I mean, like they're all amazing. Like they're amazing people.
As I said, they're
you know,
amazing people. That's the biggest.
and
Phenomenal people.
like I mean, I don't know. And like all the bands that like we haven't played with that are coming out from this area that like I hope that we get the chance to play with. Even if like their style
give us
doesn't
shows.
complement us, like complement ours.
Yeah.
It's like I still want to have like that mixed bill. It's like I don't give a shit if like you're playing like a flute out of your asshole. It's like, man, you want to do it, let's do it. You know, like
I mean, obviously, part of what I do is being at local shows, which I'm blown away that media has completely forgotten that. That like
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not just the preview interview; it's actually showing up, show your face, show
Fucking
people
A,
that you're
yeah.
here, live coverage, that kind of stuff. It's just almost non-existent. But I go to these shows and then I will cover a national act here and there, and I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, because there's just so many restrictions
Yeah.
and like there's
can't get
people
to
running up to you. Oh, you're standing here. You have to stand here,
Yeah,
and if you cross this line, we have to kick you out of here.
Right.
Or whatever else. And it's
Yeah,
like
it's just stress and anxiety.
okay. Like
Yeah.
you feel like it's run by the Gestapo.
And you know what?
You
Half
know,
the
like-
time, it's not even the band; it's their people.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's like,
of course.
It's like
yeah.
if it was up to them, they most of the
they
time,
wouldn't care.
right? It's
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of that. Like it's more and more of that corporate control that's just sucking the life out of those shows.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. Like as the prices keep going up,
Right.
like if I had to pay, like obviously I get in for a lot of this stuff
Right.
because we're media and we're covering it and we're working.
Right.
But if I had to pay for any of this stuff, I literally just would not see any.
Right.
Almost,
right.
almost
because
any.
Sometimes
it's miserable.
it's not even
It's not worth
possible
the
to
money.
like my growing up. Growing up, my favorite band in the world is Blink-182,
Yeah.
and when it came to that, I was very much a Tom DeLonge person.
Yeah.
So recently, when he came back to the band, that was huge to me because that's
Yeah.
like my life growing up
Right.
was that band.
For sure.
So they announced a tour. Tom's back. This is going to be awesome, and I'm like, I have to be there.
Yeah.
And then Ticketmaster now has the dynamic pricing where the price will shift based on the demand.
Demand, yes.
And it's like, I want to get tickets. I don't even care if it's the nosebleeds. I just want to experience this again.
Sure.
And it's like, you go and look them up and it's like $700, $500. I'm like, I can't justify that for any reason.
And what does that say about where we're
putting music behind a huge paywall now.
Yeah.
Where now only a certain class of people
And
can
that's
now
exactly-
enjoy
That's exactly what
these
it
shows?
is.
Right.
It's a certain
Like
class.
that.
Right.
Bothers
Here's a
me.
question.
That's really
because
fucked
music
up.
in general has always come from the people that are grinding.
Yeah.
The people that
Right.
are like honestly that boots on the ground that are like, you know, like they're coming home with like dirty hands, like like that's where the heart of music comes from.
For sure.
And you gotta.
It's not made for rich weekend
Right,
warriors.
it's more of a blue
You know,
collar
like
sport.
Right.
yeah, like it's
But
it's
you gotta ask
ridiculous.
yourself this too, because of the advent of the internet and shit, and like these bands aren't making money selling records anymore.
At all.
Right.
So all their money's probably coming from their touring and their merch and shit.
Yeah, but they don't
But-
make money off
but
of the tour. They
again,
make money off of the merch.
It's the merch. I mean,
Yeah,
you look at
you're
the
right.
price of merch. I
You
mean,
know,
and that's how they're keeping themselves alive,
So
and it's
you
understandable.
You
That's how
can't
we-
ask
they are,
yourself
right?
that and say like, okay, am I paying for them to survive, or like, am I, But for the most part, as I know it, most of the bands get to name their ticket price, to a certain
Right, to a certain extent.
Yeah, exactly. And so if somebody's asking like Blink-182 is asking $250 for a ticket where it used to be like $35 or
Right.
$100, give me $100.
Well, it's like even as things change, like keep it on the Blink-182 thing, at the height, I guess, of their popularity, the TRL days, the Feelin' This days when they were, at their
Enema
height.
of the state.
I remember going down to Philly. I was like 13 years old, and I saw them on the $2 bill tour in Philly, and the tickets were literally $2.
Yeah.
And this is
Those
like at their
days are
height.
over.
They
Yeah,
could have
those-
asked for $100, and
Right.
people would have paid it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just not like that anymore.
Well, they also got comfortable with,
hey,
even
alien research is
Jetson's
expensive,
alien research.
Even, I mean, even around here, you're gonna get. It's like people bitch about a $5 or $10 cover.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I don't
so
even want to hear it.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I
Which
mean,
is mind-blowing
It's all
to me.
relative,
Right.
but
That price has not changed.
But like
at all.
No.
we
And I-
did a show at the V Spot with some out of town bands, so it was $10 at the door,
And I was nervous. Remember?
I know.
I was.
And I just wanted to make sure,
I was
like,
like, it's
we
more
were
than
bringing a
five,
band
it's
from
always
Brooklyn.
five.
We were
Is
bringing a
anyone
band
gonna
from
come?
Binghamton. I'm
But
like,
we had to give them gas money.
right.
Yeah.
Number
we
one,
had two
get
bands coming
there.
from New York. It's like
Yeah,
we're not gonna,
exactly.
like
You
what are we
know,
gonna do? We're gonna
yeah.
short them.
But I remember I had like a mini meltdown about it because I was like,
You did, yeah.
I was like, it's always
Nobody's
been
gonna come,
$5.
$10,
They're gonna
nobody's
come
gonna
out
come
for
in.
$10. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, to go see a national act, you're not
Right.
talking even $60, $70, $80.
Just
And
buy a
here
gallon
you're
of
getting
fucking milk, it
here you were
costs
getting
like
4
$10.
bands
But
You
it was
know, like-
it was cool.
and
Everyone-
only one local for
Yeah.
$10. I mean, it
Everybody
wasn't
showed up.
really that big a deal.
Yeah, and it was some great time. It was one of
And
our
they did. It was a great show.
of
Yeah.
many, many, many times I played the V Spot. It was one of the most successful nights I had there,
Yeah.
as far as turnout and
Sure.
all that.
Yeah.
I just find it's so much more satisfying to see a local show because people now and I get it, bands have to make their money somehow. They add all these meet and greet things and stuff like that,
Right,
like
yep.
the days of like, oh, let's hang outside and wait till they come out at the
Yeah.
end of the night, or,
Yeah, or
you know,
at the
hang by
merch
their
table.
bus or
Right,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
or the merch table.
Yeah.
Like sadly, those
you
days
used to
are
you
are
used to go to
gone.
like Warped Tour or any festival really, and the band was at the merch table, or sometimes you'd just be walking around.
Yeah.
I remember telling them way back in the day, like there were members of bands that I met at the merch table that they'd be like, hey, I'm going to see the Bouncing Souls. Do you want to come with me? And then I'm standing next to a dude I look up to watching a band that I love, and
Right.
it's like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
as a teenager, that's like
And
life changing. That will stay with me till the day I
and
die.
you remember that.
Yeah,
Right.
till the day I
Right.
die.
That sticks with you,
Right.
and now like those experiences are gone.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
not a thing
Absolutely.
anymore.
Yeah, you can't have that
It's-
unless you're behind that paywall again.
Right. If you can afford it, you can have that experience.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Which then, what does that say? That
I feel
turns
like-
into
I feel like- I feel like
influencer
it's-
garbage.
I think it's
Yep.
I think it's eventually it's a bubble that's going to burst. It's gonna definitely that house of cards is gonna fall because I mean like
I
they're
would
already
hope so.
they're already looking into it when it comes down to Ticketmaster with like their rates and everything.
Like, what's a-
Eventually
what's a Taylor
somebody's gonna
Swift
make a call
ticket?
and be like,
You know what
hey,
I mean? Like
this shit's kind of
$2,500.
messed
People
up.
pay that so happy.
You know,
I know it's crazy.
People will happily pay that.
And I think too there's the trend too with the music festival thing, where we see what happened with Blue Ridge, for example, where they just get so big. And even on Blue Ridge's page to this day, the top banner is biggest rock festival in America.
Right.
And that's what it is in their minds, is like, how big can we make
Yeah.
this
Right.
thing? How many bands
Instead
can
of
we
the
pack into
quality.
it? Yeah,
the
instead of
quality,
like
the experience. And,
yeah,
like,
exactly. So like people
Right.
get there and like, even if none of the bad weather happened, there wasn't enough bathrooms, not enough
Yeah.
trash cans. There
like-
wasn't
yeah.
enough like places for people
Well-
to go under if there was a rain or whatever. People are
Right.
literally standing under trees in a lightning storm. Like
Well,
you have these horrible disasters.
If you count success in dollars, then
Yes.
that's what they're looking at.
That's
But
what
there's
they're
also
gonna
something
say.
to be said for like I'm been guilty, past and present, when you first see the flyer for those festivals come out, where you go, oh my god,
yeah, that
there's
was
like
my
every
reaction,
band I
too.
love on it.
Right.
But then you get there too, and I know this. Me and him used to go to
Riot
Riot
Fest,
Fest in
yeah.
Chicago, which is always a great time.
Yeah.
But you got 200 bands, and you love 150 of them, and
Yeah.
then you get there and you realize like, wait,
There's no way to see all of them.
Oh, wait,
17
yeah.
of them are always playing at
Right.
the
At the
same
same
time.
time.
Yeah.
and that's hard for me because
They all have 25-minute sets,
Right.
and you have a
Right.
25-minute walk to the next
From one
stage.
to
I mean,
the other.
and
You're
it's
going to
tough for
see
me.
10 of the bands of the 150 you want to see.
because events like that have nothing to do with the bands.
Right.
It's about the promoters.
Right.
It's about
Right.
how much money they
Well,
can
and it's
raise.
and I mean I look at like I
It's
went
really all
the
that
first
stuff
time that
counts.
Harry and I went out to Riot Fest, it was 2008.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I kind
And
of
it
wish I
was-
went to Riot Fest this year because of Corey Feldman.
Yeah, but like it was in an old theater on Sunday, and then Friday and Saturday you had to pick which shows you were going to around the
Yeah.
city. Like
Yeah, it wasn't in one big
Don't get me
theater.
wrong.
Right.
I love
cool,
the opportunity for growth when it comes down to festivals.
Sure.
But when you grow too fast and you're still in all you know how to navigate is the small, and you're growing too big,
And you
like,
price
you're
out your
going
original. You
Right.
price out your
it's that
original
Alice in Wonderland
market,
effect.
you-
Like
Yeah.
you're gonna burst through your shoes
Yeah.
and shit. You're
Yeah.
not gonna know how to.
well, I mean,
handle
hell,
it.
but that was 2008 was the one we're heading back to our hotel and we're getting on the train and Reagan Youth is walking with us. They're behind us. They're we're bullshitting with them as we go back to this is totally
Yeah,
cool.
dude,
Like,
Now you have to pay $200 to even say hi
right,
to them.
exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Dude, at CC's and shit, like I was a big like Earth Crisis fan and OKD, whatever, all the hardcore bands. But they're right there, man. They're like they're accessible. They're
Texas
like
is the reason.
yeah. And you just go and you're like, hey man, I love you, and they're like, cool man, here's a T-shirt or some shit.
Yeah.
And that's like, no matter as big as you can get, if you come up like with that in your mind, you just want to pay that back or pay it forward.
I could never imagine being not accessible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like as like a person,
Right.
like I mean, I get like if like you get to like that, like with how Anthony was talking about like Blink-182, it's like, yeah, when you're like fucking a Kardashian, of course you're gonna have cancer falling. But I'm just, and with like the long, I mean, like, he's got aliens up his butt too. Like, I mean,
Well, yeah, because there is something to be said for being
I understand- he
having
can be-
zero personal space or
yeah,
privacy.
I get that part.
If
But,
you
like,
get to a certain level and you
Yeah.
can't go
The
anywhere,
isolation.
yeah, like that makes sense.
and you can't
Yeah.
trust
But
anyone,
if
Right.
if you're just a normal, I have seen this before. All right, so like normal touring acts where it's say like the TLA or like when the Truck was around or
yeah, like a mid-level
like
band.
mid-level, like like those like not like high capacity venues. I'm not talking like
Yeah,
arenas.
yeah, 2,500.
But I
that
started
cap.
to notice a weird trend. I think it was like late '90s, early
Turnstile.
2000s,
Yeah.
when all of a sudden you would always see those bands again going back to the merch tables or maybe just at the bar before going on. Now it's like they're all like isolated in their fucking green rooms, and it's like, what are you doing? It's like you want to. All right, you traveled all this way to come and do this show,
Right.
and you're just gonna sit with three, like the rest of your bandmates, and maybe a couple, like the booker and like maybe like the promoter, maybe like whoever's like running the club or whatever.
Couple friends.
And like you're just gonna sit in the green room, like you're not gonna go out
It
and
may
like
depend though
just
too
hang out
on
with
like
the people.
Sure.
like I remember
Yeah.
seeing the Deftones the one time and like they all came out the back the
Yeah, the
side
Deftones aren't
except
good.
for the drummer and I'm like fuck man, but he just snuck out like okay man, like I totally get that if somebody doesn't want to be like they'd rather be private or they'd rather.
Oh, dude, no, I completely
You know what I'm
understand
saying?
the
Like-
Some
privacy
people are
aspect
just
of it.
Some people
introverted.
just aren't like I could see that like if you're on the road 250 days
Right.
a year
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like it's like, all right, we're in Scranton tonight. Oh, great. You
But
know,
here's the thing. The
But
way
I get that.
Yeah, but like the way I look at it is like the reason I'm in this town tonight is because of the people
because
that
they're
are out there.
you're right. Yeah.
You know, so it's like the least I can do, even if it's going to inconvenience me for an hour or 2 hours, I'm gonna go fucking.
Well,
say
we're
hi.
gonna do the show.
You know, I'm gonna go throw
Right,
some
yeah.
stickers at some people.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bullshit with them. Maybe I'll put my hoodie up because like I don't want to be like inundated with people. You know, but I would still. I don't know. Like,
It's
at
like you
least-
can't
at
even go
least-
to the Viewmont
you know,
Mall.
I know, man. It's awful.
Sam's Club, you get yelled at.
Sam's Club, forget it.
What the hell? I can't even remember what he said to me. Like, hey, you're that guy in New Daggers. Or some shit. I got it at Sam's Club. I got it at Sheets.
What? Really?
Yeah, that's what happens when you got a
That's 'cause
suite.
you're tall,
See, I don't
man.
I don't know if you know this, but we're sitting at 1.4.
Is that what it is?
Watch out.
So,
Slow down.
it'd be awesome if they all came
Yeah,
to
we
the
were
show.
saying
it would be great,
And if some of
though.
you were bots from Bangladesh.
Rich, we were stoked on like the 138th listener because we're Misfits fans. We're like,
And it's October.
once
it was
we
the
hit
biggest-
138, that's it. Man.
Yeah,
We-
no one
we've
else
made
is.
it.
We're packing it in.
We've made
Love
it.
it.
So you guys did a demo in 2021.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and maybe how it led into the full length.
Ironically, I listened to one of the songs off the demo today.
Was
The
that
demo.
like,
It is a demo.
was-
It is definitely
It was
a
exactly
demo
that,
when we actually
Rich.
looked
We
at
honestly,
like,
we
yeah.
honestly, we went in. I think it was.
We
a
went to
weekend,
Windmill and we did it in like 2 days.
but it was like 2
Two
days,
weekends, yeah.
which consisted of maybe 7.5 hours of actual work.
Right.
We just wanted the demo of the songs.
Yeah,
And
just to have
yeah.
something for people to listen to. Being
Yeah.
in the internet age, not everyone comes out to shows, so
Yeah.
we were like, okay, we have to have something.
Yeah, because we were doing like live videos not live videos, but we were like recording our practices. So we
And we
put
put,
up like
clips and
snippets.
stuff.
Yeah, and people were asking like, oh, where can I hear it? What do you guys sound like? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
like,
and this day it's not like, oh, come to a show and you'll find out. It's like you
Yeah.
gotta have something to entice people to
Yeah.
even
And
give you a
again,
glance.
you got to remember, like at that point, we weren't in that mindset of we're going to be doing all these, we're going to be doing tons
Right.
of shows or anything
Yeah.
like that. It was like we just kind of want to get it down,
Right.
so we have it,
Yeah.
and then we're going to move on. We're going to start writing more.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so like not serious to us that the reason it took so long between the demo release and the full length release, it was like what, a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were at a point like we weren't even practicing once a week. We'd sometimes practice once
Yeah.
We
every
were dealing
other
with some
month.
medical stuff was going on.
Yeah.
There was like, I mean, we had a
work
bad
issues.
run of luck for
a while.
Right.
like a year, like a solid year of just bad luck.
But
things
it was
happening.
just we weren't even getting together regularly.
Yeah.
There's times we played shows. And
Practice
it's
the
like
week before.
we haven't practiced in 4 weeks, but we're just gonna go out and hope we're still
Yeah.
remember it.
yeah. Well,
Which
I mean,
isn't
that's
good,
it.
by the way. Yeah.
No, it doesn't end well.
But you guys had a sound right away because you guys all have come from different bands, different backgrounds, different. I mean, Black Nihil couldn't be
Yeah.
farther.
No,
from,
yeah,
you know,
no.
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're doing
Oh,
with
yeah.
this, for
Right.
example. So, like, you guys knew right away when you got together, like, what it was gonna sound like.
We
you know?
didn't.
we
We
know.
didn't have a
It
defined
just-
sound. We just
No.
It just
We
happened.
didn't consciously
It is
say
organic.
We're gonna do like
a punk
a
band,
punk
or
rock
a rock
band.
band, or a
We
metal
just-
band.
I honestly think me and you sat back that
Yeah,
one day and was
that's
just like,
what
let's just see what.
I think you
happens.
just played that riff from May 20, just dun 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 dun.
Yeah, because
And it was
I
like
come
toon,
from
toon.
I come from
And there it
street
was.
punk background,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I was like, I want to like, because I mean, I played in street punk and thrash bands for like 30 years at this
And
point.
I come from
you know,
punk.
where it's like I just wanted to, so I kind of like brought like that little element in, and which
Yeah.
obviously you could hear with like May 2012, where it's like it's basic, but it was like we just were messing around. It's
But-
like but it had a good hook.
That
and it was
was
fun.
The
and-
only conscious thing we really think about is keeping it simple.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
anytime
do
we have a
not wanna
song,
overcomplicate things.
anytime we have a song that's like we're having trouble nailing down because there's 16 different parts and 12 different chords to each part, we're like, scrap it because this isn't us.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not a
Yeah.
prog band. We're not Coheed and Cambria. We don't need to do this.
Sure.
And there's
what it comes
times
down to,
we've
it's just
wasted
rock
time
and roll. Yeah, it's just
doing it.
rock and roll.
We
I mean,
consider it
we
rock
want
and
to keep.
roll.
Yeah, we just want to keep it as like as basic.
We're very
don't
organic.
we
and
don't
that's
actively-
my approach. Is we are very organic.
We don't actively search like
Good word for it.
to keep it simple. It's like, hey, we just wrote this riff. Like, where can we take it?
Let's just play those 3 chords the whole
And
song.
then it's like, and then we kind of wrap everything around it. It's like, okay, like, fuck it, let's get wild. Let's add a bridge.
Yeah.
That was my comment at the Bog show.
3 chords in the truth,
Right.
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what
My
I mean?
comment at the Bog, I walked up and I'm like, I got the microphone after we played the one song. I said, "Don't anybody tell me that 3-chord punk rock isn't that it's dead." 'Cause
Well, the sound, like going back to kind of like what you were, like your question, the sound, it just happened.
Yeah.
It was
even-
really
I
weird.
just,
because there is like there's strange elements to it, because you get like that street punk vibe, you get the like that rock and roll, like that Bruce Springsteen-y sort of like vibe to it. I mean, like,
Hard time waits. That's
I
what we've been
I mean,
told.
like, we've been told, like, because like the way that like our hooks go, and with the way that Anthony does his leads, you know,
Well,
we get,
which
like,
is
the
funny,
kinda,
'cause
like,
I
the
brought up-
gaslight
I
sort of
brought up-
vibe to it.
I brought up Blink-182 earlier, and it's funny because it's like if you listen to the vast majority of my lead playing, you can tell that's what I grew up.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, the sound organically comes out for sure, because like even though I grew up listening to a lot of punk and pop punk, and like when I grew up in the early 2000s, like kind of the emo screamo scene.
Yep.
When I go home, I don't listen to anything that sounds remotely like us. Like I'm very much now at these days, like it was either I brought up like Blood Brothers before, kind of the spastic noise rock, but like I also like nonstop. I'm listening to lately like Acacia Strain and like very very heavy stuff. And for whatever reason, when I get together with them, none of that comes out. And I don't force myself to go like, oh, I need to play a more pop punky riff. That's just what they bring out of me. Is like,
and like consciously, like me as the drummer, I try to keep the tempo, like, because it kind of goes with the sound now that we're in that vibe.
Right.
But like, you know, I don't come from that at all. I just, you know, I just said, that's what it was. I was like, all right, we're doing this thing. We're gonna go fast, and it's gonna be that thing. And so for me, that's what that was.
and Chris certainly doesn't fully come from that
No,
background.
I'm
'cause
diverse to say that.
I
I
met-
mean, like everything.
Yeah.
I met Chris. The reason everyone is so much older than
Oh
me.
God, here we go.
I met Chris when I was a freshman in high school. He was my homeroom teacher.
He's a lot of people's teachers, man.
So
I am a lot of people's
I walked
teachers over the
into-
years.
I walked into class.
26 years of teaching. That's what happens.
Right.
I walked into class on the first day wearing a NoFX shirt. And he pulled the gatekeeper thing to me. And he
You actually
basically,
like
About that.
no, he
actually
basically
into that,
pulled
Matt?
the, like, can you actually, like, do you actually listen to them? And I think I rattled off a bunch of songs, and he was like, okay, he walks away. The end of homeroom, he comes up, he puts a slip of paper on my desk. He's like, go home and listen to this. And it was the most spastic grindcore noise rock.
Yeah.
Just noise
It was like
and
the days of the
screaming.
Locust
Just-
and Cattle Decapitation and like
And I fell in
Crimson
love with it.
Curse, and I'm like,
But I
here, go
learned
listen
it
to this stuff.
from him. You know, like I learned that from him. So that
Yeah.
was where, and you were in the doses.
I was
at the time.
doing garage rock stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it had the noisy elements of that noise.
Oh,
hard
absolutely,
rock,
yeah.
Where there wasn't traditional
Yeah.
chords, there was a lot of that. So even the background he comes
'Cause we don't
from
know how to
does
play
not
guitar.
fit. None of us come from a
Yeah.
background that fits the sound we
Right.
have.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It just all
true.
kind of coalesced into whatever it is.
I mean, I can't say that completely because Sean and I were in a street punk band together.
Yeah.
But that was like short-lived. We only played like 2 shows, I think, ever. I mean, we played with the Nerve Agents and like one other like random.
As is the fate of many punk bands.
Right, exactly. It was short-lived, and then our lead guitarist left to move to Alabama. So did he marry his cousin?
Welcome back.
Wasn't that what it was? The dude from Rock and Roll Suicide? Didn't he go and marry his cousin? I think he married his cousin. I am pretty sure that's what happened.
He was,
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like,
I remember
Wow, you're
skateboarding-
spilling the tea on
oh
me.
yeah, we are. Do I remember what his
Yeah.
name is?
We're
I don't remember his
I don't
name.
even
Hear
remember
that
who it was.
Instagram?
I don't either.
We're giving you the tea.
Yeah.
I remember skateboarding with him once, like, and
I thought
and
you
the,
were rollerblading.
no, and the sun was, but the sun was going down, and I swear to God, his skin turned green, and it fucking weirded me out.
What did it turn?
Green,
Really?
yeah. I don't know.
Weird,
I mean, he was a
He was an interesting dude.
weird bird.
He was. I believe the one song was called Shit Town.
Shit Town.
I think that
Nice.
was
So when did you guys know you had enough songs? Let's get this done. Let's make an album.
The full full
yeah.
We knew it probably.
We were talking about
It was right after the demo. We probably had about 7.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
took us
Yeah.
a long time to even get as many songs as we had because of that kind of spastic practice schedule we
Right,
were having.
Yeah. We weren't
So,
getting together a lot.
Now, once we started getting together more, it kind of became, okay, we've been playing these songs for like 2 years, and it's
time to lock them down.
It's not beating people over the head because we don't play out very much at that point, but it was like, let's record everything we have and just get a clean slate, so now everything we can do is new and fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it isn't songs that we've been playing for 2.5 years.
Sure.
And a lot of the times, like when it comes down to like our availability, like going into like recording wise or show wise or stuff like that. I like once in a while I feel like because like we turn down a lot of shows and
because of circumstances.
but it's circumstance. Like we never want it to come off like, oh man, like we're not doing your show because
Right.
we don't want to do your show.
Yeah, it's like, no, Chris...
No,
It's
like, we
because
honestly, like,
I'm
can't
going
do
with my
your
son
show,
to do
you know?
something,
Yeah.
or
Chris is
he's
a
going
school
with his
teacher
daughter to
with
do.
2 kids.
I've
He's
got
got
this
daughter.
response. Like, yeah, we do. We feel bad. Like Ray, that was
Well,
one of the big
yeah.
things. Ray's always
Busy
like,
guys.
"Come play
Yeah.
for us, come play for us." I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to, Ray.
Yeah.
Can't do that show."
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like,
then-
"I'm sorry, but I'm away, or Sean's away,
We
or
got one
like
coming
Gabe's
up,
got a
though.
show booked for."
Gabe
We do,
is
yeah,
Gabe
so-
is the only one without kids, but he's also
But he's in 2 other bands.
17 bands.
So
He's got a lot of babies.
got a lot of babies.
But shout out Major Pie because Major
That's
Pie
right.
is awesome.
Pie, baby. And
Mercy Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Mercy.
Yeah, I know. We haven't gotten together.
But
in a
So
while.
Old
you're supposed to be
Daggers
practicing
is where
right
he
now, right?
started.
We were gonna, but yeah, everybody's busy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
This time of year is tough, you know. But yeah,
But yeah, with the record though, I mean, like we got like what, like 7-8 songs, and I think it was after, what was it? Was
August.
it was either
August and Hay were the newest ones.
Yeah, we
yeah,
were at
but
10
but
tracks.
when we decided like, hey, we're gonna go and re-record. Maybe it
can't
was
pinpoint
August when we were
that.
like,
maybe.
we act like this is the song that we kind of need to like
That's a
actually
studio
record.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it
think that
was
kinda-
a purge. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is everything
It was.
from the last 3
And-
years purging out.
Yep.
Honestly, like
So yeah, it can
we,
open up new doors.
we got lucky and we banged out like there's 10 on the album, so the first day we got 9.5 done on drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Because that's
weren't
how
even
long we
sure.
were playing for them, and they're pretty simple. Like it's not like some-
Well, and we have like a guru
intricate
when it comes
shit.
down to
Yeah.
Eric at Windmill. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, Eric Ritter is.
he's our boy. Like like when we went in, we recorded like the demo. He knew exactly like what we were doing. Where it was like
Yeah.
we're going in there. We're just like we want to hammer these out real quick. We're not looking for anything.
Yeah, you don't got to give the
spectacular.
wall of sound production. Like, it's literally just make it listenable and so we can throw it out.
But this time around, like, because he
we
loved
did the
what
big,
we were doing.
big sound for the
And then
actual,
as
the
we
full-length
progressed, he wanted to like hear more. And then as he heard like our newer stuff, he's like, no, he really pushed us.
Yes.
To
Yeah,
do
I don't.
it
I
the
could
right
be
way.
wrong. I don't remember, but I don't think we were even planning on doing a full length at first. I think we were gonna just do like, hey, let's do 4 or 5 as an EP. But then everything just went.
Yeah, we
It
were
was
like,
so
oh,
fast.
yeah, we
Yeah,
were like,
that's-
if we could record
that was
this, we'll
kinda my
record it,
point.
we'll have
It
it in the
happened.
bag. Yeah.
Yeah, we were able to get so many done so quickly. Just the foundation laid that we were able to. We're just like, fuck it, let's just put it all. Let's just do the full length. And that way, honestly, from my perspective and my feeling on it is, all right, now they're done, and we can move forward and start.
Exactly.
Start
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the next chapter.
We can
is.
start
Why
working on
hang
stuff,
on to
moving
them?
forward.
I mean, we're just gonna, I'm not gonna wait 6 months to
But
release
but
something
we
we've
also
been playing for 2 years.
we sat. I think we finished the album in what, like April or May.
Yeah.
So we sat on it for a while because we're also being, old people. We're navigating that new way of music where a lot of times, like,
Releases.
Yeah.
it's hard
How do
to
you work
release a full album because
Yeah.
most people, like, if you even listen to Spotify, your general listener isn't sitting down like we used to and putting on track 1 and listening to every single song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people, you're releasing singles every couple, like every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you drop a single. Then once you have 4 singles out, you compile them into an EP, and then you release another single 6 months later and do it again. So we weren't sure. There was like, do we release the full album? Do we
Right.
split it into 2 EPs? Do we just release singles? It's all kind of new to us on what the proper way to do it is anymore, because we listen to full albums.
We're
still.
glad that we did,
but
the
a lot of
full-
people don't.
full album though. I mean, because
The response has been
and the songs all kind
Great.
of work in that format. Like they wouldn't, like they just kind of, because we've been doing them so long, maybe, but
They tell a
they were all
certain
written
story.
kind of around the same time. So it's that's that. You know, we're just like, all right, let's put them all down and get it done.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
almost
I was
like,
against it.
do you want to like go with the way people are releasing stuff now,
Right.
or do you want to buck the trend and be like, hey,
Right.
we're standing out by actually doing what
Right.
we used to do?
That was
back
my
in the day,
feeling on it.
you
For the
know?
most part, was like, well, fuck it. You know, we're album people. you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So who cares? I mean,
And I was against it
I
at
know,
first, but
but-
now I'm super glad that I
which,
didn't
by the
fight
way,
that.
we're releasing
Yeah.
an EP next week. No, but we are. But that's
we
like,
do have 2 songs in the works.
listen,
we're making progress.
We are gonna do EPs and shit
Right,
like that too.
right.
So that's not, we're not against any of that shit. But
Sure.
but
I
we
don't know if
had
you
that
noticed,
full
but-
thing done already.
I don't know if you noticed, but like we don't really care.
We're gonna do whatever we feel
what it
like.
comes down to. Like
Yeah.
we just kind of like we float
We
some
do it
shit
for
out
a
there
lot of
and
it
we
for
just
us.
do it. But like for the most part, it's like exactly. Like, we're doing it for us and we're doing it for like the people that like us, and like that's like end of story. It's
the
like,
re-
you
yeah,
know,
the
like
record-
we're just having fucking fun.
We
man.
wanted to do something that we can be proud of
Yeah.
for us, like
Right.
just like like an accomplishment of some sort. But like we're so proud of the album. Like we really.
We
Because
did
we
put-
did
we-
put
we
the
put the
time
work
in,
in.
and Eric was fantastic, and he always is. But
Again,
like
shout out Windmill.
Windmill Agency, Eric Ritter. But we really
Eric
like
forever.
everything on the record was like we mixed it where we were really involved in the process of like making it sound the way it sounds.
We did want to approach it with like that wall of sound, like that.
Yeah,
Rhythm
there's-
cruise.
there's-
Layered
Yeah, we
up.
kind of walked. That was one of our
There's
things. is
guitar
like,
lots of
tracks
guitars
in
and-
there where
yeah.
like some of my leads and stuff. Even though I'm not playing anything different, I've overlaid 3 or 4 or 5 times. There's a
Yeah.
couple songs. Eric had a really beautiful Rickenbacker like 12 string that I like jumped on just to have
Oh,
that
yeah.
fun. That
There's
studio.
there's a fucking triangle.
Yeah, but we also kind of made sure that like
Yeah.
even though we were adding like this big sound behind it, we made sure that when we needed to translate it live, we could translate it live. Like
Yeah.
we know where
It's still us. It's
know,
not
like,
it's
it-
not
it's-
a departure.
it
from
sounds big on the
what we saw.
recording.
It's
but
not-
when you hear us live.
It's not a
still
huge
song.
departure.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like nobody's gonna sit there and go, "The fuck, Gabe, where's the triangle?" Or where are the shakers? You
We
know?
got a way to do the triangle.
Well, because there are
Where's that
bands,
extra tambourine?
There are bands like I had a close friend that was very into Fall Out Boy, and their later records.
Nice.
They're like Steph.
I know.
Their later records became very kind of pop oriented and less guitar work.
Yeah.
And then you would go and see them live and they would play those same songs, but now they don't have the production, so it's just 2 guitars, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
And it
a lot
sounds like a
less.
totally
Yeah.
different song.
Right.
Whereas that's where I would gain the respect for them, because I'm just like, oh wow, this is actually a cool song.
Yeah.
But we don't have
It's
that
still-
that drastic difference of like, hey, we added some slick and some shit.
I'll say this much:
We
the
kept
only
it raw,
difference,
too.
yeah, the only difference is like I don't have the time or the air capacity to play harmonica. On
right on August, right.
Because like it's just
no,
not.
he's
Well, I mean, I
fighting
can,
against
I
wearing
can.
the
Well,
thing.
he wants me to wear the dark.
Yeah,
Vader.
We're getting in the headgear.
Yeah.
Like he just won't do the fucking
I
thing.
can do it, but like, yeah,
You
well,
got yes.
at but at practice I got
I'm just
better.
thinking
where-
about how douchey it actually really looks. You know
I've
what I
gotten
mean?
better. I've gotten better
Like-
though having the harmonica at practice, and then fucking like immediately
That's
tossing
okay.
it really quick.
But like just you show up to the V spot with that thing around your fucking neck.
I would just wear
Oh
like
my
that.
god.
I would put like chicken
Just
plates
think
on
about
it.
it,
Look
yeah.
at Tom Petty.
Yeah, who,
I go there. I would go there
Who
for
invited
steak night.
fucking,
I'd go there for steak night.
yeah.
I'd put that steak right there and just munch it.
Who invited Springsteen?
I'd have to have a beer helmet on too. Like
Yeah.
no hands. Whole night, no hands.
You know that's an
Look, Ma, no
interesting
hands.
thing I heard the other day. Somebody called the Menzingers Heartland Punk, and I was like, "Oh,
I like
that's
it.
a
That's
That's interesting.
that's a great." because it covers that that aspect of you have the Bruce Springsteen
Right, yeah.
type of
Yeah.
songwriting.
So I guess,
but with the punk rock in there,
I guess
like,
Gaslight Anthem would
Kinda
kind of
fits
fit
in
that
there, too.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
there's
really
a lot
cool.
of
Yeah, I
stuff
get that.
fits
I can
into
see-
that, and I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I dig
Yeah.
that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's a good shorthand because I
Right,
know that
right.
bands, even yourselves, you kind of want to just describe yourselves as rock or rock and roll, and
Yeah.
I totally get that. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself.
Right.
You don't
Yeah,
want to
no, yeah.
set people's expectations, especially
Yeah.
punk is so funny because every time that I post about, say, like the Menzingers, for example, the first comment is always punk.
Yeah.
Punk? That's not punk.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Right?
all
Well,
right.
well,
All right, so ready?
Speaking from somebody,
Okay.
I'm gonna call out.
That's this guy. That's
speaking
this
from
guy.
somebody who had a 3-foot fucking mohawk for
And
like
he did.
15 years of his goddamn life. All right, in like the 90s, where you're getting the shit kicked out of you for having one. All right,
Larry Doc-
Nobody was kicking
You
the
may
shit out of
not-
Sean. He
you
was
may
like
not-
9 feet tall with the damn mohawk.
You may not consider us punk rock in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
But that's because you haven't branched out.
You're still
into
listening to the
punk.
casualties.
but you
of
know
the
what?
Yeah,
casualties.
exactly.
Do we-
right.
like-
You're
do we
listening
want the
to-
Greg Barnett story?
You aren't listening. No, but the thing is, like, it's always pissed me off about punk rock. Because
Well,
are
the
you
purist
in it for
thing,
are
too,
you in
yeah.
it for the music or are you in it for the fucking costume?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm sorry, like,
Yes.
well, I remember getting to a point, it had to be like 1999 or 2000. I was doing it for like years, where it was like, you know, like Doc Martens,
Right.
like big ass Doc Martens, you know, dog piles, you know, like shredded up shirts, big leather jacket painted up,
Spikes.
giant mohawk, or like Liberty spikes, or like, you know,
I
crazy
had Liberty
colors in my
Spikes,
hair.
believe it or not.
And I got to the point where like it was I don't think that this isn't the music. Like this is and
It's
I
a
remember I
fashion
went with
show.
I
Fashion
went with
show.
one of my at the time I was playing in this like hardcore thrash band called Dead Stop. And I showed up to the show and I had on khakis and a fucking white t-shirt. And every single person was like, what the fuck is going on? And it was like, well, I mean, like, what's the difference?
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's like I'm still doing the music that you like,
Yep.
but because I'm not wearing the outfit, like you're so non-conformist,
Yeah.
but you need a fucking
Right.
uniform.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
That's,
like,
that's,
that
the, that's
bothers
the
the
whole
shit out of me.
paradox
Yeah.
of the scene.
Right.
That's I was just saying.
Right.
What I find funny about
Now,
that
don't get me
is-
wrong, really quick. Before you, I just want to, you know, my diatribe is from personal experience.
Right.
All right.
Very much it
I
is.
am not.
I can validate it.
I am not shitting on anybody
No.
who
We're just
still
No,
wears
exactly. I
their
mean,
leather
it's
and
a
stuff.
thing.
I mean, like in our song "Up the Line," I touch on it. I say, you know, like leather studded, rusted, and patches faded on the sleeves. Because I mean, like it's still a part of me.
Yep.
It's like there's
And-
times where like that's my
it's a part.
weighted blanket. Like that's my fucking
Right.
comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
I wish I could
Yeah.
just kind of roll back up into that that identity, but like it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's me, but the outfit doesn't
Correct.
fit anymore.
But we're not
you know,
talking.
like
It's
like,
not,
Exactly,
we're
and
not
that's
talking
exactly
about.
it. Yeah, no,
we're not
and
talking
it's-
about people that actually like dress like that. We're just
It's
saying
right.
like there's
the
certain
people that use that outfit
the
as
people that make the comments on your fucking internet and say, "Oh, like that's not punk."
yeah,
Right.
because we
Those
don't have
guys
crazy
are what we're
colors
talking
in our
about.
hair.
Jawbreaker said it best. You're not punk, and I'm telling everyone.
But it's like the reason when I got into punk rock as a kid, it was because of that like
Community.
unity.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That
That's
you
what it
know
was all about.
Operation Ivy was always screaming about, and then I started seeing the hypocrisy of you guys are only screaming about unity and everyone standing as one and being together and supporting each other while simultaneously ostracizing because
Yeah,
you're not
'cause
punk
you're not-
enough,
right.
your mohawk's
Right,
not
you're
long enough,
posing,
and
yeah.
it's like you're screaming unity
Yeah.
while also like keeping
Yeah.
people out.
Saying you have to
I
be
never
a
got
certain
that.
way.
Like,
And that was a lot of
dress
the reason
code,
why I
you know?
left
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And I started getting into the
And
weird communities.
I think it's the same with the sound too. Is people get so hung up on, well, it has to have
Right.
this,
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 and this to be a
Yep.
punk song. It has to
Right.
have this, and this to be metal. That's a whole other
Well,
thing where
let's
people
be
fight
honest.
over what's metal and
Look,
what's
Right.
not metal.
Punk,
And it's
punk
like,
is a state of mind, or it's not a sound.
yes,
Punk,
exactly.
punk rock could be
It's community.
like playing like I remember like they said like Green Day was punk rock when they did that acoustic song because it's kicking against the pricks, man.
Right.
Like punk rock is being is a
against the
state
grain,
of
man.
mind.
It's against the grain.
It's not a fucking sound, man. So
For me, I mean, and for me, it's about the community.
but
I mean, how many of us wouldn't be here right
Yeah,
now if it
and
wasn't for
but like
finding
you
that
said,
spot?
Yeah.
like
I
in
mean,
a
I'm the first
in
one
a
to say it. I know I
shorthand
would.
way, we all know what you're saying when you say heartland punk, like,
Right.
Something like that. Like
Yeah.
we get that.
And
like,
that's the only reason that like as
I do
a
like that,
as a
though.
guy
I
who's
like
like a
Heartland
music
Punk.
journalist,
Yeah.
and writer
Right,
and
yeah.
stuff.
You have to.
I have to do
exactly.
that
You have to
because
have an
there's just some
adjective.
people who
Right.
just we're very much in the world of too long didn't read.
Yep.
So like
Right.
I love to write, and I love
Yeah.
to write long, nice, detailed stories. And some
I've
people
read a lot of
really
your stuff,
appreciate
man.
that, and
Oh,
some
yeah.
people
I
just
do.
really don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to put that in a headline,
But it
or
paints a
cut line so
clear-
that people understand right
Exactly.
away.
Right,
Oh,
right.
that sounds
Yeah.
interesting to me. I know what that
The
is.
second you
I'm
said
gonna click
Heartland
on
Punk,
that.
I immediately knew. I was like, kids that grew up listening to punk rock that also love Bruce Springsteen.
Right,
The
exactly.
second
Yeah.
you said
yeah.
that, I knew exactly
And that's
who
a
you were
sound.
talking
That-
about.
that's a-
Right.
So that's why I like to at least say a
Yeah.
metal band, a punk band, or whatever, just so
Right.
that generally people who
Yeah.
are even remotely interested in that right away they okay, that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Right,
That's
yeah.
the wheelhouse that we're in
And dude,
tonight.
Well, that's
or
what's
whatever,
funny because
you know?
we were talking before, where like Gaslight would fall into that and stuff, and it's like people compare like we said this before with like some of our music, like we like fall into like that kind of like Gaslight category. That was never on purpose.
Nope.
Yeah.
We had no intention of doing
Right.
that. Me being compared to like singing like Tom Waits was never intentional.
No, that's an awesome
It was
compliment,
just-
though.
but it was like those threads just kind of came together and like they wove like this thing, and I mean like I don't know.
Well, in a way,
kind
you
of
need-
hooked on that Heartland.
In a
I
way,
like that
you
a lot.
need those
Great.
Also,
subgenres.
It's a
I'm
great
also
way to put it.
huge,
You need
huge
those
Springsteen
subgenres.
fan,
Yeah,
so,
so that
You need those subgenres though, because if you just say like, even in our case, we like to say, oh, like we're just a rock and roll band.
It's
but
too
you
general.
could be
Yeah.
talking about Old
Well,
Daggers
we're
style,
not Thin
but
Lizzy.
you could also say that.
right.
You could also
Why
say
not?
that. I wish. You could also say that Buck Cherry is a rock and roll band. That
Right.
Goo Goo Dolls are a rock and roll
Right.
band. We have nothing in common with them.
True.
I don't
So
know.
when
We
you
could
just-
we could kick around a Hey Jealousy
Yeah,
cover. I
exactly.
mean, I'm totally cool with that.
Dude, fuck that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me
I
too,
love
exactly.
good rock.
You said Buck Cherry?
Well, I was
He
trying
did.
to. I was trying to.
Crazy bitch.
I
was
was saying,
trying-
what song do they
I
say?
was trying to pick out like something vastly different from us to prove the point of. You can
I
say
mean, you
that-
could have said Creed.
You can say Creed. Creed is awesome. Creed is awesome. Scott
We
Stapp
were
all
the
day.
other day listening to Creed at
With
practice.
all-
No, we weren't listening to Creed.
We were checking out their album covers.
Oh,
Did you ever
okay.
get a look at?
Look at Creed.
Yeah.
Go back
Look
and
at
look at
Creed's album
Creed's
covers for entertainment value, everyone.
Yeah,
And they had budgets.
right.
They had budgets.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone
That's what
made
we
a
couldn't
lot of money
understand.
off of that.
Yeah.
Someone
Like,
made a tremendous
I
amount of
initially
money
went
off
to
that.
initially went to college for graphic design. All right, and
Yeah.
like this was before those Creed albums came out. So like years before those
You would have
Creed
been
albums
hired
came-
instantly.
I would have made.
And you might have made them cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
That is
That's
crazy.
What do you mean
fantastic.
made them cool? They are cool.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
We're gonna get some quick comments and questions in. So if anything you guys want to add to that conversation, make sure you leave them in the comments below. We got Sean here says Old Daggers are fucking great.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
There we go.
Nice, thank you.
You're making comments on your own stuff?
I don't.
I saw him pull out the phone.
Sean was texting the
Yeah, he was like,
the chat.
I said I had to get up
You
and
guys are
pee, but I
awesome.
wasn't.
Kyle says, "Oh hey, I know these guys."
What up?
hey, Kyle.
Sean also says, "I'll practice fluting my asshole so I can open for your band."
Fine, please.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mike says, "Wishing well is my street hockey warm-up song." Love these guys.
No way.
That's fucking
Nice. Fuck yeah, man.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Thanks, man.
Game
Thanks,
on.
Cloud.
Brett,
Game on, yeah.
Game on.
Cloud.
Brett says, "What's up, Nate? What's up, Chris? The rest of you,
Yeah.
go fuck yourselves."
Yeah.
Let's
Science
see.
adds up.
Marty says, "Hi, Dad. Love you."
Oh, Nevy.
Hi, Nevy.
Yeah, Sean's not
Hi,
right
Nevy.
there.
Marty.
Hello, girl.
Nevy monster.
And Vinny from the V-Spot says, Old Daggers are a great band with the coolest dudes.
Vincenzo.
He's a good
Love
dude.
you. We love you, man.
He's a very likable guy.
Takes good care of a lot of people around here.
He's okay.
Yeah.
No, one of the best, man. One of the best.
Thanks, dudes.
One of the other things that I like to do when a band puts out a new album is kind of do like a track for track kind of breakdown to see if there's any like a story behind a certain song, or maybe what the inspiration was behind a certain song, that sort of thing.
It's cool. Therapy.
So we got 10 of them. Let's go. Let's
dig in, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna let Sean handle this.
Holy
Well, I
shit.
can't
All right,
go for it.
Like, is there another
Is there another beer?
There's one here.
There's one right there.
There's one there. There's a mini fridge in the back.
So we
guys need more.
we can amuse while we're waiting for this. So I said the Barnett story.
These aren't all mine.
So my
These
first
are
teaching
Dave's.
job
Yeah.
was at St. Vincent's in Honesdale.
Okay.
Greg was a 5th grade student
Oh my God.
at St. Vincent's in Honesdale when I was teaching there. And apparently years later, because for a while he dated someone who I was close with, who went to North Pocono. And one of the big jokes was, we ran into each other and we were talking, and he's like, yeah, we always just, I think you were hitting on that other teacher. I'm like, no, she totally wasn't my type. There was no one else my age. She was the only person to talk to at the Catholic school in Honesdale.
What just happened?
Got the Greg Barnett story. It's infamous.
Funny enough, I remember going. I was probably.
I'm
12
also
years old.
still convinced that when they sing about, the comment about waiting for the shitty bands to finish up, that he was talking about the doses.
I remember being 12 years old, and I went in Mount Cobb, PA, where I grew up in the country. We had the
Jefferson Fire Hall.
Township Lions Club.
Yeah, you also have like a fucking giraffe.
They would
up
put
there.
on
There's a
shows, and I
giraffe.
remember seeing.
And some zebras.
That's fucked up, man.
I remember
There should be a
seeing.
giraffe up there.
I remember seeing 2 bands at like 12 years old that blew me away on a local level. One of them was called the Cretans, and it turned out that Greg was their vocalist.
Yeah, yep.
And then the other one was Bob and the Saggets.
Right. Yep.
First time at a local show at 12 years old, I remember seeing a show start, and the guitarist had this weird look in his eye. And I'm like, what's he looking like that for? The second the first chord hit, he was in the crowd, like charged us, knocked me right on my ass.
Oh, man.
And I was instantly like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then it turns out a bunch of them formed.
Do you have any idea how many times like Bob and the Saggets opened up for Abscission in Bedford?
Greatest name ever.
Like
It is. We still have that conversation all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Best name ever.
Right?
Yeah, like, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, they always, it was weird, because, I mean, like, for a while, like, I mean, like, you know this, like, with Abscission, like, one of my old bands, we always did shows with Bedford, and we would always bring in, like, tons of, like, any local band, we always did our things, we did, like, the punk rock proms, we did all that, like, fun shit.
One more time, we were spoiled.
But, yeah,
Just
we were
saying.
definitely spoiled, but, yeah. But to see those guys go on to do fucking amazing things,
Right.
like, is incredible.
Right.
Love every second of it.
Yeah, it's encouraging for everybody else.
Right.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
it shows that, like, yeah, you can come from here and you can
Exactly.
do that.
Because
You can
that
make
wasn't
things.
true forever.
No. it
I mean,
wasn't.
for years, there were amazing bands around here who never got any further than here.
Well, even on a more kind of now level,
Yeah.
I remember, growing up in that nothing town in the country.
Yeah.
There were times I remember walking. This is before your day by about 30 years. I remember walking out of North Pocono High School out of the gym and seeing the guys from Motionless and White Bear.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, we're playing at the Hamlin Family Fun Center this
Right.
weekend,
I played there.
handing out flyers.
Yeah.
And then you'd go and see them play, and it's like now they're touring the world, and they're huge, and they're selling out places, and it's Motionless and White.
Oh yeah.
But it's like I remember them as the kids that would annoy us to go see their show, and it's like they were from kind of more, I think, Wilkes-Barre area,
my
I
old
believe.
band Razorland.
And it's like, what
I
are you
think they're from
doing
Kingston.
40 miles away in nowhere country? But they were playing a show in the area, and they were fighting then.
Yep.
So it was.
Back
It's
then they
weird
were-
looking back
No, I mean,
at
like,
some of
we've
those
seen-
memories
we've
of
seen
like
a lot
you
of-
guys were just little kids like us,
Listen,
Yeah.
and now you're doing it.
There are. I mean, like one of the biggest bands that stands out. Like, I mean, like Chris can attest to this. Like when he gets back from tugging on it. Like when, like I was, like I think it was in high school when Strength for a Reason started. And,
yeah.
you know, always going to like the Nanacoke shows, like right when they started, like I think it was like Ed Bond was still like playing drums for them. Or maybe he wasn't yet. It was like when Chamber was around. You know, and like just looking at like the success that they had.
Yeah.
Like and gained. And
Wisdom and
Carl,
Chains,
even though I don't know
Yeah.
like personally,
Yeah.
like great frontman, like great dude, like, you know, really promotes the hell out of it, just like loves what he does. I mean, like just solid band, and the fact that it carried so long is like incredible. You know, I mean, like I love that. Like that's one of those things where it's like I don't think people understand. It's like where that band came out of northeastern Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
You know, and like they've been one of the biggest headliners on a lot of fucking huge shows for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And you have people, you can walk down the street right now and ask people, do you know who they are? Do you know who they are? And a lot of them are like,
yeah, it's like, you know, those
I've
guys
never heard
live
of
like,
them.
Never heard of them in my
it's like,
life.
you know, like, but and it blows my mind. But if you go to like, if you go to New York and you ask somebody, do you know who they are? Or if you go to like, you know, Connecticut, or if you go out to the fucking Midwest and ask, they're gonna know. And it's like, man, it's like the fucking dudes have been killing it for like the past like 20 plus years.
But you know,
now.
there's something to be said for like I was talking how me and Chris used to go to Riot Fest. I always, to me, the Menzingers say were always huge, but then I always had it in my head. It's like, well, I grew up knowing who they were in other bands. Are they huge to me because I live in the Scranton area and they're from the Scranton area?
Right.
And in 2018, me and Chris went to Riot Fest out in Chicago. And like 120 to 150,000 people go to Riot Fest. And the Menzingers played. And they played at like 3 in the afternoon. It wasn't like a headlining slot. And we walked over to go see them play. And there had to be, you know, no exaggeration, 15, 16, 17,000 people going nuts and singing every word. And then it was like that realization where it was like, these guys are just kids I used to see in town, and now I'm seeing them in Chicago, way away from, you know, bumfuck nowhere,
7,000
PA.
people.
And there's just
I'm
all
not
these
gonna
people
lie.
just knowing every word. It opens it up to like, okay, it's not just my little bubble. These guys are actually doing stuff.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard the Menzingers and I had no idea what their connection was to, you know, home, I was just, they're a great band. You know, and then finding out that they came from here, you know, it definitely, you know,
that
it
was
knocked it
that was
up,
my 10
but
years of
I had
disappearing.
no idea it was them. But anyway,
Right,
we gotta
attached
get on
to these
the
songs,
Let's
exactly.
do it.
Yeah.
Family
And,
Feud.
and we can't go out without acknowledging Ray Meone saying, I've been listening to their album nonstop
Thank you, Ray.
since it came out. So.
Hey, Ray.
Go, boy, Ray. Ray loves
The man, the
Runaway.
myth, the
Yes.
legend.
So it opens up with Catch Me Outside. Tell us a little bit about what inspired that, or the story, if there's a story behind it, or...
Man, there's a story behind
I
it.
said a story behind every song.
It's basically, that song is kind of about being told that you're always gonna fail, like no matter what, like you're gonna constantly fail, and you're being kind of like just torn down so much, and it's like I'm like you, but like you're the one that's tearing me down. It's like, why? Like, you know, like I'm gonna, like I'll show you basically, and then it goes to the sounds so stupid, but the Catch Me Outside thing from that fucking stupid girl, man.
Which there's an Easter
But I
egg
was like listening. I was
It's
listening,
in there.
I was listening to this one
Listen with
podcast.
headphones, folks.
No, I was listening to this one podcast, and they were like making fun of her. And she's like, Catch Me Outside, how about that? And I'm like, oh man. But then we were playing the song, and I'm like, we'd like, catch me, you know, falling again. Because, like, first of all, the Catch Me, I thought it was fucking great.
Super catchy. Yeah.
But it's like, you won't catch me falling again. Because, like, I mean, it's like, no matter what you throw at me, it's
You're
like,
trying to prove
I
yourself.
already got knocked down. It's like, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to fall
You
down
won't catch
again.
me falling again.
Yeah, like I'm it's not gonna happen. And I've the past I'd say the past almost 3 years now, I've made it my mission to never fall down again, because there was a good portion of my life where all I was doing was stumbling, falling, and poisoning myself, hurting myself, like just bad spot, bad decisions, or good decisions that I turned bad. I just needed to. I don't know. I needed to get it out there. That it's like I'm not gonna go back to that.
I'm glad you did that through that, because we're not gonna let you do that. But,
Nah.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that song is like, from the way I feel it too, and I know it's coming from you. So, and I know you, but I love that message. You know, it's just, you know, you're not gonna catch me falling again. You know. So
Yeah, like throw your one of the lines. I
whatever
like,
you can
like,
throw at me.
Yeah,
right?
like throw your punches. I can still see clearly through black eyes.
Right.
And it's like, because I mean, like, no matter what, it's like it doesn't matter how. Like, it goes back. It's fucking funny as shit now that I think of it. It goes back to like Rocky, where he's like, you know, like, you hit you as hard as you can, but you get back up, you know, like sort of shit. But yeah. But I mean, like, but it's the truth. I mean, like, it's just about getting back up and like just like not fucking getting knocked down. It's like I refuse to have anybody or anything ever again in my life, including myself, ever knock me down again.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
including
what's
myself. That's heavy. No,
That's gonna cover
Yo,
something.
waxing poetic here, motherfucker.
That's a great song.
I speak in poet.
But 35 Summers.
Oh man.
Okay.
That started out with
35
a Chris riff.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah. And there's Chris lyrics in there too, and there's Sean lyrics.
So 35 Summers starts out with a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes ever. It's from Rumblefish.
Tom Waits.
And Tom Waits, which, you know, we didn't get the Tom Waits comparison prior to this, so it's kind of weird that, like, you know,
Right, yeah,
we
it's
got
all-
the Tom Waits comparison after the fact.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
but it's about just like living in that moment, because you only have a certain amount of time left. And I mean, the quote is kind of like, you know, you throw a day away here, you throw a day away there. It's like, but like, how much time you really got? You only got 35 summers left.
Yeah, we don't like talking about this, Sean. This is not good.
Yeah, but like,
for some of us.
Yeah, but like,
I'm good.
no, but like but it's like to reflect on that and realize, like, when you break it down and you only have like this amount of time left. I mean, because everybody always thinks in years. They don't think in seasons. They don't think in like those sort of time frame. Yeah. It's like, man, I can
makes
still
it feel faster.
Yeah, like I can still remember clearly, like the summer of like my 10th birthday, and it feels like yesterday. You know, and it's like, or like I could, like I don't
Remember
know.
being in the womb?
Simultaneously, though,
Some people do. I'm just curious.
it simultaneously though feels like yesterday and 100 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a weird feeling.
Right.
My whole womb memory is like the beginning of Look Who's Talking.
But like even that song, like lyrically, yes, and musically, I think it's our most like rock and roll-y one. I would say it's like very, you know, just like
It actually kind of set the tempo for what was going to come after.
yeah,
Because it segued with the way that Chris kind of wrote like that initial riff.
yeah.
We got that. It's kind of like where Wishing Well.
Yeah, it set the
And
pace.
yeah, it set it up. And
Because
then,
the first 3 songs were May 2012, 35 Summers.
From Wishing Well.
Which 35 Summers for
It's
about
called
2
Song
years
2.
was just called Song 2. It wasn't until we
Didn't have a
recorded
name.
the album
I
that it got a
I
name.
always had words to it. We always knew what we were gonna do with it.
And you always wanted to
Yeah.
put that Rumblefish quote in it.
Yeah.
Even in the
Right.
like long
It was
before we
like
recorded.
I always, because from personal experience, because the song speaks from personal experience, where like, excuse me, I fell in love with someone that was unbelievably important to me, and in the back of my head, I thought I would ruin it. So, but the way that I treat the lyrics is I kind of give them my narrative that's in my head. Like, where it's like,
Right.
I'm self-sabotaging. It's like, hey, I'm thinking this, but like, I think this is what you're thinking. Like, I'm projecting my thoughts onto somebody else. And it's like, it's strange, but it makes sense in a weird way. I don't know. I mean, like, one of my big things is like, you know, I could see it in your eyes. There's fireworks in your smile because I mean, like I never in my entire life have ever felt so hard for somebody the
What was
way
his
I
name
did
again?
in a specific moment in time, and like I captured that in this song. So like
Yeah, he
literally,
did,
so
yeah.
And one thing I just want to say real quick for like anyone listening or for anyone that ever listens to us, Chris painstakingly put all the lyrics.
Oh, yes,
on
it was
our
fun.
Spotify.
Yeah,
It's a good time. So lyrics are out there.
From the day
Take
that
advantage and read them.
from the day that I met Sean as a bandmate, because that's how I met him as. We weren't friends
Right.
beforehand. I wanted to
I
start
brought
a
him
band
in
with
as a bass
Chris,
player.
and he was like, "Hey, I have this guy I used to be close with. I want to bring him in." Sean is my favorite lyric writer, not only that I've worked with, but like pretty close in the top 5 of all time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah.
And I'll get more into
Not that we want to give him a
later.
bigger head than he already has,
Yeah.
but you know.
I'll get more into
I
that
keep it- I
later
keep
during
it
Helen
smaller,
Keller,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I take pride in what I write, and I will rewrite everything 1,000 times.
Sometimes
until
to
it's
our
perfect.
annoyance.
It has to be perfect.
Rewriting in the studio.
All right, go ahead. Next one. What do we
But
got?
you worry about perfection, and I've literally seen you shit out songs off the top of your head that are some of the best lyrics I've ever heard.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wishing Well is up.
I fucking love Wishing Well. Wishing Well is again. It's
The
first
first
of all,
one that
it
gelled
is
for
it
us.
is my daughter's favorite song, and
It's a lot of my friends'
Yeah.
favorites.
it's
very anthem-y.
yeah.
In our early days when we weren't practicing much and we were sloppy, that was always the one people came up to us and was like, "That song has something."
Okay.
Yeah. It's about. It's just about that like loneliness you feel like when you're just kind of like just another like the lyrics itself like just another ship lost at sea. It's like I'm just a normal person that's just out there just trying to make sense and navigate everything around me, and it's like I can't, and it's like I'm just trying to keep my head above the water so I can breathe, and I'm like, but at the same time it's like I'm remaining focused and I'm trying to accomplish stuff, and that's where like the whole like these are the dreams that we made, these are the dreams that we make, because like it's up to you. It's up to you to kind of like really hone in on like it's like almost like that manifest destiny sort of shit where it's like like you have to like believe in it.
Right.
To like
Put
to
it out
make
there.
it happen. Yeah, I mean like if you sit
Mm-hmm.
there, if you sit on your fucking hands and you bitch every goddamn day that like your life is hard and it's not getting any better, it's like it's not life's fault. Like it's completely yours at that point.
Right.
Like, it's in
Life's
your
tough.
hands.
It's gonna come at you.
Right.
Especially if we live in a simulation. I mean like
But,
I don't know.
you gotta
I
like own that shit,
Birds aren't real.
Even musically, that song is very like, as far as like me, the groove in it's like very, like schlock rocky, like.
Oh, yeah.
Doom.
It's so loose and beautiful.
You know what I mean? And
Cheap trick.
I did that just because like it's like it has that anthem-y quality. It was like just like that big opening, and I just wanted it to have that feel like where it's like it goes along with like that, feeling like I don't know. It's just a big.
It's the first song musically. It's the first song musically and lyrically like I've ever done that like I felt like some sort of weird personal connection to, like it like on like an emotional level where it was like I remember like when we wrote it, and I think like the first thing I did was like these are the dreams that we made, and it worked so well, and then like when I wrapped the lyrics around it, I was like, fuck.
Well,
Like,
and
I
a lot
remember just
from
being like, holy shit! Like I connected
That
with
you
it.
actually
From
really
an
like.
from
But
an
I was also in a-
outside,
I was also
from
in a
an
different position,
outside
you know, like-
perspective, though, what I loved and love about you lyrically is that a lot of this stuff really is coming straight from your heart, because we'll be practicing and it'll just come pouring out. And then later on, he
It's
might
the
tighten it up
melody,
or
yeah,
change
and
a
then-
few things.
Oh
but
yeah, I don't make shit up.
some of
Like, I
these
just-
lines,
yeah.
like he's not like, okay, let me hear it, I'll come up with a melody, and then next week I'll have lyrics to it.
Yeah.
A
write the
lot of
lyrics,
these
I
words,
just, like,
he's
spit 'em
just
out.
coming right off of his chest, right off the top of his head.
Yeah. I did that with.
So
I
it's
did that
very
with Catch
honest.
Me. I did that with Wishing Well. I mean, like.
It's very honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. I honestly, the only time I think I've ever sat down and wrote lyrics, so I could have them,
You're like Jay-Z.
was when we were recording.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure you had it.
I've never sat there and wrote lyrics at practice. I've never sat there and wrote lyrics at home.
Right.
I've messed around with ideas, and I would send these guys ideas where it's like, kind of have an idea for this, blah blah, and then it completely changes. We were in the recording studio, and we were doing Return to Sender, and Chris is like, "That is not the fucking words I meant."
We did that a few times. It was so
we all,
frustrating.
Yeah.
Because for 2 years,
happens,
you're
though.
hearing the same
Right.
words.
Yeah.
And then
all of
he
a sudden
steps in the
it's
mic
different.
and he changed it, and it's like, this, what are you doing?
What
And
it
I-
all-
All works out in the end,
It
but
does. It
I
does.
did that with probably what song is next?
Hey.
Hey, whoa.
Hey was the
Song,
newest
Hey.
one, I think.
all right. Can I
All right.
just take hey
Really
for
quick,
a second?
really quick.
Take
I
it.
hate this song.
All right. So
All right.
No,
he
no,
hates
no,
this
no,
song.
I don't hate it
He loves
anymore.
it.
Right.
Loves it.
But I
Right.
hated this song.
At the time, when we wrote
Hot
it, he
take.
fought it. He
Yeah.
fought it.
Quote last night.
Ray loves this song, right, Ray? If you're still there.
As Harry put it
Help
last
us.
night, our buddy Harry Jenkins was hanging out with us last night, and he's like, that was always your generic Rancid song.
Yeah, he's like, that's
He
just
goes,
your.
and then I saw the lyrics. It is no longer your generic Rancid song. And I said to Sean, I had to actually have him send me the lyrics, and I was like, holy crap, man. Like, I didn't realize what you were saying. This is amazing. It's by far some of my favorite lyrics he's ever
And
written.
nobody fucking
that's
loves
funny.
the lyric that I love.
I love that line too, but I love the whole thing
the hurt.
overall is exceptionally well done.
I wrote this line that says, like, what is it? I'm still picking up the pieces. I'm still picking up the glass that held back the last picture of you. But no, you guys go to the generic fucking line.
It's not generic. It's great. So you have to look online. You'll see the lyrics. You appreciate them. Just
Yeah.
all the streaming services, they're there
That's
for
my
you.
biggest thing is like read the lyrics because it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah.
We rated your fridge.
I say, see, what you didn't realize is that we are heavy drinkers.
Yes.
Sour, you know, so-
I said those are sours as long as you guys are good with sours. If-
Is
Not
there
a big
alcohol in
sour
it? I'm
guy.
happy.
I don't think I ever had.
No, you don't want it. You probably don't want a sour. Go for
This
it.
might be more fun. You might get
Anyway,
YouTube videos just from this.
You
Like,
like that. You
look
like
at
that.
Sean.
Hey grew on me. It grew
Because
on
of
me.
Ray, I think, wasn't it?
No, it actually grew on me at the studio with Eric because Eric was like, "Well, why don't we try this?" And I was like, "All right," because he started adding, like, I would be singing parts and I'd be kind of hesitant on certain things, and he knew I wasn't feeling the song whatsoever. But then it was like,
Yeah, your
you know,
vocals
you'll-
were very flat at first.
He really pushed you though.
yeah.
for
But
that
then it
one.
was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm counting down the days till I'll be seeing you soon, and then he overlapped my vocals on it, be like seeing you soon, and it like fades out, and he made it very haunting.
I like to
and-
remember my name. That
Yeah,
Yep.
and like the remember my name part, like he made it a little bit.
Yeah.
He,
For that whole
he
album,
added
Eric was
to it.
the fifth member
and
of the band.
yeah, and it made a lot more. The song started to make a lot more sense to me, and I realized how I could navigate it when we were gonna play it out. Because for a while there, I was like, man, like Harry said, it was just a generic,
Right.
thrashy
Right.
sort of.
That's
fast song.
that's like the punk song.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
more heavy and there's
Yeah,
As
we
we've
have
been
a
told, it's got a
breakdown at the
breakdown
end.
in it.
there's a fucking breakdown at the end. You know.
Yeah, the Earth Crisis and us came out for like
What?
10 seconds.
Well, we needed that because, like, you know, otherwise it's pretty just standard, like verse, chorus, verse, shit.
For a lot of stuff, it's like I feel like I could just play one chord for 4 minutes, and as long as you're writing lyrics over
Right.
it, it's gonna be good.
That's it. 3/4 of the fucking truth, man.
Next song, I
Right.
guess.
Up the line.
Oh man,
up the
that's a
line.
love letter.
Up the line.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, when we
Anthony
It is,
wrote that
it's
one.
a-
music.
yeah.
Basically,
it's a love letter. It's a love letter to yesterday. You know, it's not about. I said this before.
Some
It's
good lyrics in that one.
it's not about like. It's like missing yesterday, but realizing that like, you know, like you've grown up and appreciating like what you have now. You know, it's like, yeah, like I mean, like there's no looking back, but like, you know, we can still like appreciate it. Like I don't want to hang on to it. Like one of my biggest issues throughout like my life has been, I hate when I am around people that like I've known for, you know, like 30 years or like whatever, like within like the scene, and all they ever talk about is like those 4 or 5 shows that we went to when we were 15 years old. And it's like, man, have you done nothing else since then?
Right.
It's like you can appreciate that time and you can hold on to and value that time.
Right.
But like, what have you done since then? And it's like, yeah, it's like, and it's about growing up, letting go, but like not letting go at the same time. It's like, you know, it's still a part of you.
The cellophane there.
But there's-
in that one?
Yes.
Well, there's
How
also
rich
a,
that cellophane there. 'Cause
So
that's fantastic, by the way.
so like in Up the Line, it's no, in Up the Line it's like what the fuck
Throwing things away.
yeah,
like
like throwing days away like cellophane, getting caught up in that breeze, because like again it goes
love
into
that.
like
I
we
don't know.
threw away a lot of time back then, because like we didn't realize how important things were, maybe like friendships, like maybe relationships, just the environment that we had, and
it's a scene song.
It is very much.
Like it's
It's-
about.
I
the
mean,
scene.
it's
I-
a love letter to the local scenes.
the
I
local
was
scene.
gonna
it
say
is,
like
it is. It's just
we
about
come
like
from different scenes, but like to me, even listening to it now,
Right.
when I hear even just the like traveling down 81 northbound,
right.
it
Which, yes,
makes
we
me
know you
think of,
can't go
like,
northbound on 81. We understand that.
What do you
All right,
mean?
we get it. We realize
You're
that.
north-
traveling down 81 northbound.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
The fucking lyric is not 81
It's 81 north. I mean, come on.
But
What am I gonna do? Like,
Not like
this
we're
song
gonna change the
was-
directions.
Fucking
The
like
song was-
84 east.
the song was written while I'm in my 30s, but
Right.
it automatically brings me back to like
To a
me
scene.
being like 18 with my first car.
Right.
And like listening to whatever I was listening to at the time and just driving down 81
Yep.
and just looking around, seeing the mountains, seeing like
yeah,
the
I mean,
bend
it's just,
come around
yeah,
84.
it's just one of those. It's one of those.
Which is
like,
a Dodge Stratus.
It will have a video eventually.
I
We've got the
drive a
idea
Dodge
for it. We just have to get it
Stratus.
off the ground.
I had a 90.
but it is. It's
I
more.
had a
It's more
90s.
along the lines
I had
of
a 90s Jeep
like
Cherokee
a
Laredo.
flat out like,
I love that thing.
you know, like letting go, moving on, but like not forgetting.
Yeah.
And I
It's
mean-
really, it's just a, it's a
No
love
shit.
letter to who I used to be.
I had one.
And I mean,
That's
I have to tag in here because the end of it, the song is mine. I threw on the end part. That's all me, and it is.
Lyrics.
It's exactly what Sean said. I mean, there are certain people who
Yeah, you're part of the song.
They're not.
is
Yeah,
so-
they're not.
they're not here anymore,
It's so
and
cool.
so you know that song is for Hans. It's for Dave.
Hans and Franz.
It's for
We,
Jamie.
no, we like. Unfortunately, me and Chris have had the.
I'm just holding it together right now. I'm getting upset, so this isn't good.
No, me and Chris have unfortunately
It's for Jody.
had the pleasure, not the pleasure, but we've had the unfortunate experience
friends
of
we've
seeing
lost.
a lot of people within our
It's for Shane.
scene
STC.
pass away very early or like unexpectedly. I mean, a lot of
When's the last
bandmates,
time you had
a lot
tears
of
on this show?
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I'm like this close.
He's getting.
Come on now.
He's had enough beers and enough nostalgia. It's about to happen.
But anyway, moving on.
Moving
So
on
Chris
past
is
that, let's go on to
yeah,
something
yeah,
happier.
Yeah.
Let's see. Learn how to park Helen Keller.
First of all,
No, allow me.
I wanted to bridge that to just
Absolutely
call it
not.
Helen.
Absolutely not.
You didn't name it.
Okay.
I didn't name it.
I named it. Okay, here's the thing. Just to allow
No
me,
woke shit
I
going
have
on
the
here.
most. I guess, personal thing to this song.
Yeah.
That was a We Be Wolves song.
It was.
From
Okay.
when our
It's a
band
cover,
in
so-
2012. And Sean and Chris, we used to practice. There was a practice spot run by Rock Street Music in Pittston, behind the Pittston Police Station. We practiced there. There was a Domino's right down the road.
Okay.
Chris and Sean left to go get
I
pizza,
don't care.
and me and the drummer at the time just started messing around. I came up with the riff for it, and that was the one song out of, I don't remember how many we had.
14.
that was the one song that all the years later stuck with me to the point where every once in a while I would hear it and I would send it to Sean or to Chris or to both of them and be like, this is still some of my favorite lyrics of any band I've been a part in. This is still one of my favorite songs.
That was the song that I loved of their band.
Right.
Yeah.
When I heard
So it made sense for us to just.
So we decided to bring it back for this band, where it was like, if there was only one song I was going to bring back from those days, that would be the one.
It is much faster.
Yeah, it just worked
at the time, to explain the name, kind of, you're talking 2011, 2012. At the time, you know, internet being slightly more in its infancy, it was like a meme of that I saw back then that I thought was the funniest thing in the world, because also I was like 23, and I was just like, yo. And I think I was probably stoned at the time. I was like, yo, we should call this song Learn How to Park Helen Keller.
We also had a song called We Were Promised Donuts. So I mean, that's not saying much here.
It just stuck for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it was very, like, inappropriate, even at the time. We had a couple people that were like, I don't know about that. And we were like, fuck it, we're doing it.
I personally think Helen Keller would have a sense of humor about it.
But the original We Be Wolves recording starts out with the drummer on the recording yelling, fuck you, Helen Keller.
That's not cool, because I happen to love Helen Keller. I think the way she learn how to read and write.
But it was just that 2011, 2012, whatever, I guess, humor that I had at the time as like someone in my early 20s that was slightly less sensitive to anything.
Yeah. Right.
Because I was like, I listen to punk and metal, fuck you. I want to offend you because I think it's funny.
Well, I mean, that's it comes and goes in waves too, where, you know, like you have, you know, the era of like South Park and trying to push the limits of what you
far as you can.
Yeah. And then there's the backlash of like, oh no, everybody who says things are canceled now, and you know, and then we kind of realize like that's not a thing. Like you can't cancel people's lives. Like they go on, they live, they don't disappear because you don't like them on Twitter.
Right.
Like that's such a stupid thing. And so now you have the backlash of that coming around where it's like, no, I think we're kind of done with that.
Yeah,
shit.
like enough's kind of enough.
Yeah, can we have some fun again? Can we like joke around?
Yeah, well, it's lighthearted.
It comes and goes.
That title to me is like just funny. It's like
we're talking about
Learn How to Park, Helen Keller.
But lyrically,
it's just lighthearted funny.
This is where Sean needs to take over for Learn How to Park Helen Keller. Is
I don't know
lyrically for 6 or 7 years between We Be Wolves and Old Daggers.
Yeah,
that was the one that lyrically stuck with me. That chorus of like "You're always on my stereo."
That's super catchy.
That's about like honestly like sitting in a car with like your best girl, and
it was about Marty.
Like,
stop.
Yeah,
it was about Marty. You know,
that one's kind of questionable. I think that was older.
No, but it's
that was the Marty disc.
Yeah, it was
definitely.
We were practicing at your house.
We were practicing in my basement.
But no, it was about like just being in the car.
Literally, you're
and
in your
like
bedroom listening to music.
Yeah, but like just like sitting there and like. I don't know, man. Like, you remember, like, when you were, like, a kid and, like, you'd be, like, just, like, with, like, a girl and, like, just, like, sitting in the car and you'd have, like, the radio on and, like, you're playing, like, your favorite songs. And,
I don't know. That got me in a lot of trouble over the years.
But, like, now it's, like, even now it's, like, there's a certain song that, like, may, like, pop up and, like, play that you're, like...
And it brings you back to the
I remember,
time.
like, that moment. I remember sitting with them and, you know, like wanting to kiss them and like not kissing them, and then like, you know, you're like leaning in like that nervousness, that everything. And it's like no matter what, every single person imaginable can relate to. There's always a song out there that reminds them of someone, and there's always a memory on a stereo.
Yeah, like Typo Negative, this one song. Devil's
but
mine is Crash Test Dummy.
Oh yeah.
But there's something to be said about
black,
Helen Keller for me.
No, sorry.
There's something to be said about.
I love
Yes, he was just-
I love
yeah,
typo
he was-
negatives. Sorry.
There's something to be said about Helen Keller in
Crash
the
says though
sense
he's a
too.
typo negative with the same band.
That one, they can.
They both have the bassy
Did
tone.
Peter
so.
Steele sing for Crassus?
Go ahead, Anthony. I'm
But
sorry.
Sorry.
didn't he die in Scranton?
Yeah, he died
But,
around. He dated a chick.
R.I.P. But there's something too with it that talk of like kind of young love, where it's not even really love; it's more infatuation.
Yeah.
And to me,
Young
that
love.
chorus always spoke to me. The "You're always on my stereo," where it's like when you are that kid and you do find that person, and you're like just all encompassed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you think about, everything you do, that's just like I can't wait to go to school tomorrow and see
Like,
that person. Or you
yeah,
hear that
yeah.
song and it's like, oh, that reminds me of that
almost
person.
like the first person that you had that kind of vibe with, where you're like,
Like
you know,
it-
very young.
Yeah, it brings me back
And
to that those
You're
high
always
school
on my
days.
stereo.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I just
As someone who
Just
grew up
connect
like
with me,
loving
yeah.
just music and doing nothing
Yeah.
but listening
Well, you know
to
how like
music.
you know how like when you're like you know how now like in your life like you get like a smell, and it takes you back
A
to like
stench.
that like it takes you back to like that childhood. It's like it's the same thing like when you
Yeah.
turn on the radio and like you're going
Music-
through it
definitely
and like you
music
go
does
left of the
that.
dial and all of a sudden that song comes on. You haven't heard it in like fucking 5 years,
Black,
10 years,
black,
15 years,
black,
20 years,
black,
and then
whoa.
but then all of a sudden it pops up and it takes you right back to that moment.
It does. I'm sorry. I know exactly where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
for that.
All right,
But-
next.
Well, it's
Next
funny though,
one.
last
We
thing,
gotta get through these songs.
Yeah,
man.
songs.
Sorry.
but super fast, last thing, that is
Gabe
one of
was
those
late, we gotta
songs,
move.
I remember the day I wrote
Yeah,
that
fine.
riff, like
Yeah.
it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember exactly,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it was right there. I can put myself right back to when I wrote that riff. That's
Yeah,
just one of
so
those songs.
you could actually hear the
Love
original
that riff.
version on Bandcamp.
Yes, you can.
Look up
Weeby
Weeby
Wolves,
Wolves, but
yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Do it. Do it.
Just don't.
Do it.
May 2012. Next.
It's all you.
That one was
That's
the
all
first
you,
one
man.
we wrote
Yeah.
together, just us three actually. So it's
August
kinda
of
fitting
2020.
Yeah, so
Which should be the
lyrics.
title, I
You
guess,
can
No, we have to save August for another title. So
you can
Yeah. All right. So lyrically, man, this is gonna come off shitty.
because it is.
So,
have to, though.
so May of 2012, I got married,
Oh jeez.
and I shouldn't have.
Correct.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. Everybody.
Sorry,
around
Val,
me-
if you happen to be seeing this.
Everybody.
Neither of
everybody-
you should
everybody
have.
around me knew I shouldn't have. It was not. Put me in a very bad place. I was not.
Been there.
Yeah, I won't say like I fucked up because I didn't fuck up. I found something that really made me happy, and I really wanted to run away from the responsibilities I had in that moment, and like it's basically a song about like breaking free from like that time and place in my life.
And I love
You
that
know?
opening lyric too. Like what?
Oh, I've hung onto every
Yeah,
word you
I
said.
hang on every word you said.
Yeah,
You give me a length of rope
so I can hang
so
my
I
head.
can hang my head.
Yeah. It's about being
that's
like
cool.
I mean, because for
Yeah.
like a while I was being like I don't know, like kind of like torn down. But then again, I mean, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was my perception of the situation. I mean, like you know, I mean, like back then, I don't really know. I mean, like I can't put blame on anybody. It's like it
No,
could have
you-
easily have been me,
And
you
learn
know.
from
And
it.
this is just my interpretation of that time. But I found someone, and I found something that like I really wanted, and it was about breaking free. That's where like the whole like, you know, like let's cross our fingers, let's cross state lines. It's like because like. And like, let's leave it all behind because like I just want to like.
How much do we leave it all behind?
Yeah, it's like
How
I just
long-
want to. I want to be happy. I want to
You-
be where
you
I
left
feel
it-
like I need
yeah.
to be.
You want to
And-
move on from
yeah.
that feeling, right?
But at the same time, everything was crashing around me, so it was like trying to navigate it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was a weird time. I mean, like, there's no like, there's. It sucks because I
Yes.
mean, like I am definitely I'm definitely the bad guy and the villain of the story. And I was very selfish. But there's certain points in your life where like you have to be selfish because like it is your life.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, it's
anyone
what,
who's
it's
gone
what
through,
you want.
Yeah.
through like
You
a
know?
breakup or a divorce, especially, like there is a moment where you're like, all right, I have to. This is me. For me, I have to.
See, and ironically, you guys bring up like marriage and divorce and stuff like
Yeah.
that. For me, that's the band.
Right.
Because this is, for 10 years, I did nothing. This
Yeah.
is who
Chris,
I am.
We hate to do this on camera, but we're seeing somebody else.
Oh man, I should have known. I mean, I know Gabe has been, for God knows how long, but
Gabe's sleeping all around.
he's sleeping all over town. But
I'm a whore. Sorry.
I think
that's what all drummers are. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, basically.
It takes like a level of maturity to write a song where you're okay with being the villain and you admit it. Because
So Sean was the villain.
there's just too many songs out there, I feel anyway, where it's like it's always like you're a bitch, you're a bastard, you're this, you're that. And it
I'm
all
the
comes
victim.
back as
Right.
yeah, I'm whining about you hurt me, you hurt me, you
Great
hurt me.
point.
And
Well,
we've all been the victim,
Yeah.
we've all been
Yeah,
hurt by
true.
somebody,
Yeah.
we get that.
And I'd say
But then
90%
like
of the
you
songs
see
are
you hear
that.
album after album after album by like some of the even the same artist doing it over and
that's
over
right.
again. It's like so you are always the good guy.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly.
Every time
You've
you
never
do
done
everything
it
right,
wrong.
you've never done
Right.
anyone else
Sean,
wrong.
Sean owns up.
Everybody does that, and so I always appreciate
Yeah.
seeing the other side of it.
Sean definitely owns up to that.
I will completely admit that like I have been a
the worst.
piece of shit
You
in
are
my life.
fucking.
We all have.
But
You're
I
still the
made
worst.
it. But I made it.
No, I know.
I made
We-
it a
of
point.
course.
I made it a point to course correct. You know where it's like, all right.
Well,
I've reached my limit of thinking just about me, especially like when I had, like so many good things come my way. Like where it's
Yeah.
like. All right, I need to actually appreciate things.
Well,
I need to value.
I think
Where
to
you
be
at now?
shitty sometimes is to be human, but to learn from those mistakes are what make you not as shitty.
Yeah.
Were you ever in a relationship where you didn't even like yourself, like
Right.
what you
Some
become?
people bring out the worst in
because
you.
like you're constantly say arguing or whatever, and you're like, I don't even like who I am in this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so there comes a point where you have to like literally say like, for selfish reasons or whatever, like I need to get back to me. I need someone that's gonna bring the best out of me. That's the worst feeling, I think, in a relationship where you don't like yourself in it.
Yeah.
You're like, why am I doing this? Why am I going back to this person who does this? Or why am I doing this to this person? Or why am I going here?
Why am I with someone who brings out the worst
Right.
in me
And-
instead
and-
of the best in me?
Exactly. So that's a really, that's a heavy thing when you're in a relationship where you don't even like yourself,
Yeah.
and that's when it's time to get the fuck out.
Well, that's like a lot of the lyrics that I write, like it became very cathartic because I was venting.
Absolutely.
All
That's
those
what
songs
it's.
really come.
That's
from
why I
music.
play. It's
know?
therapeutic. Like for me,
Yeah.
music is, and I write stuff too. But
There's been times he absolutely will come in and pick up a guitar and
I mean, yeah, but not for us, but like
No, you do.
But just saying, like, that is therapeutic for me. And same with him and all of us. And that's when I was telling Anthony, like, you got to get up here to play for you.
because I was
not him.
miserable at
Yeah.
the time, and he's been working with me long enough, and we've been friends long enough. He knew that like I was just miserable, and I didn't want
Needed an
to.
outlet.
I didn't want to even bring that energy to the project where I was like, dude, I'm like kind of jaded and over it for right now. Like, not saying I'll never be in a band again, but I think I need a break.
Yeah.
And he was and still is always the biggest cheerleader. There's a lot of times where I don't think that I have the energy to even go to practice or write a song, or I'm not feeling it. And he's always the one where he's like, this is where you need to be though.
Yeah.
You need to be with us doing this, and every time he's right.
Yeah, 100%.
Gabe's the biggest like kind of pusher for like PMA and like we're gonna do this together and we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
and when I'm at my worst, he kind of brings out the best.
The work is for me, like the work is the juice, you know.
Yeah.
Like because that's where we really, you know, exercise the demons. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And that's where it all, you know. We lay it out.
We got
And
ghosts.
then we got ghosts, and then we lay it out, and then we work it out.
Anytime any of us are having a bad day, he is the one to remind us. He was like, "Well, at practice tonight, we're gonna get it all out. Bring
Yeah.
you don't even got to worry about the bad day coming with you because we're gonna exercise those demons the
Use
second
the-
we get in there."
The music is meant, like, for me, that's what it is.
That's the release.
That's where it's at. Like, yeah, leave it there, and or just release it through the music. You know.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
What's up next?
Next song.
Return to
We gotta move
sender.
along.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I got heat.
Man, Return to Sender is yeah. Return to Sender is again. So
It's the song I dread the most playing live because I always mess
Yes,
it up.
because it's always fast.
yeah, Return to Sender
Faster than it
is
should be.
A very it's a. This is very on the point.
It's a Marty song. All right, so it's a Marty song.
So I had a. I made some not wise decisions.
You hear? There's a theme here.
I
fucked up.
I fucked up, and this is my my apology.
It is. I agree with that.
It really is. It's like my apology.
I
Kinda
sing
like
along
laying
enough to
out
it.
there. Fell in love with a girl, and she was my rebel yell. She was my like that poison, like that, just like that thing that I needed, and she still is. And I mean, like, I love it every day, but I fucked up, and this is me basically being like, you know, like, I'm sorry for, you know, like, doing A, B, and C. Like, I'm sorry for, like, not being me, not living up to, like, what you expected of me and what I expected of myself. And, like, that's really all it encompasses. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
Good summary.
you need that reminder, though, because it's very easy to become complacent and comfortable even in the shitty sides of you. And sometimes you need that little kick to be like, hey, this isn't the best person I can be, and I need to do something about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't have that kick, you'll stay in the lane you're in.
Well, I mean, even like the lyrics, it's like, I wrote you this letter that I know you'll never read, piled up with all the other useless things. And it's like, because, like, how many times can I apologize?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, I could apologize 500 times, but, like, if I haven't acted on any of those apologies and haven't corrected anything,
Nothing but words.
it's nothing. It's nothing but words.
Right.
But go ahead, next one.
You're doing okay.
Runaway.
Oh yeah.
Oh man! All right, so Runaway. There is literally no context.
Our Runaway is our metal song.
Yeah,
Not
Runaway
even
is,
metal, but like
It is hair metal.
Yeah, Runaway is
Cowbell
flat out.
too.
Runaway is flat out what I thought when I was like writing the lyrics for it. I'm like, man, all I want to do, like, this song reminds me of like some fucking Catholic schoolgirl running away from home and just chilling out on the Sunset Strip.
And
So
doing
I
coke.
ran.
And doing coke.
Yeah, but it turned into like a
And
story
it
about
turned in-
addicts and
There was,
whatever. The
but here's the thing.
It is actually based in.
It could have
Truth,
been.
ironically.
It was based. There is some truth behind it, but I was told to pull back on how truthful I was.
Yes.
I had,
By us.
I thought I said go for it.
but you did say go for
But
it.
it is more all-encompassing the way it is
because
written now than what
I
it
had
originally
Two
was.
characters to be men together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
That was our one tweet.
there was a thing with some friends of mine, and the story plays out the same
Right.
in the song, but it's.
But you made it more.
It's a guy and a
personal.
girl
I-
as
yeah,
opposed to two guys.
He made it more personal to
Right.
people he knew.
Right. As opposed
Yeah,
to generalizing,
we're like
making
this-
it more accessible to everybody.
Yeah, this became
to more
this
people.
became like a fictionalized tale
Right.
of a real event,
Right.
Okay.
and it
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like,
And musically, it's just a fucking
It's-
schlock rock.
Oh, it is so.
Well, Runaway originally was kind of our, like, in its inception, our joke song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
Yeah, it just came
originally
out
And now people
we
want
weren't-
it.
It sounds like 45 Grave to me. Like, I love it.
Originally, we
Sounds
weren't
like a
even
fucking
going to put it
Poison
on
song
the
or
album
something.
or any album. If anything, we were going to do it as, and it goes back far
hidden
enough
track,
that when we recorded those demos, we
did it
recorded
there.
a rough version
Yeah,
of
we
that.
did it.
So
Okay.
there is like a demo.
There's a
of
demo
that.
version of it somewhere.
But it was always like, this is going to be we would end shows with it as kind of a joke. And it was also like, maybe this will be our hidden track.
Okay.
You know, like there'll
Yeah.
be
And it's
10
still a
minutes of
joke.
silence and then Runaway
It's
will
not
kick
hidden.
in. Until he came up with what he wanted to do vocally and lyrically
Right.
with it.
Write a story.
And then it was
Yeah.
like, okay, now this is no longer a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
that.
But it's our
Yeah.
most
Cool
standout.
story though.
It's our
Cool
most
story.
standout song in the sense
Yeah,
that like
it's a-
nothing
it's a-
else
it's
sounds
a-
like it.
One day maybe we'll do a novella about the story because the story is
Spoken word.
The story is very.
I just watched.
The story is very
So I Married an
fucked up.
Axe-Murderer last
Which
night.
Oh, I just listened to it.
which
I know.
I'm sure
So-
leading into the next song.
Whoa, man.
So we close out with August.
Oof.
See,
All right, so
see,
this is
see what happened.
the
we were
heaviest
joking
of
around,
all of
and
it.
this is where you brought it.
I
boys.
know.
Oh
Sorry.
God. Yeah.
So,
Alright, so-
yeah, I can just empathize with Sean in this case.
Alright,
I was
so-
at the beach with him when this all went down.
Whoa, this
All
is
right.
really that.
This is yeah. So go ahead. It's all you, man.
Did
All right, so
As people said, this song is sad to begin with when you listen to it. When you actually know the context of it, it is devastating.
We don't know. Me and Gabe do
Do you
not.
really
Yeah,
not?
so-
Oh man,
so-
it is.
We're
do
never
you guys
told the story.
honestly not know the story?
No.
All
It's
right.
vicious.
Okay, so last August, not this past August, but
21.
22.
22, yeah.
Okay.
So in August of 22, on a Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, prior to me, my daughter, my fiance, going to the beach with my mom, my stepfather, my brother, his daughter, etc.
I'm sorry. I did.
First time we've done a family vacation
Right.
in like years. Like we haven't done it was
Duh.
great.
We're all excited. I'm 2 blocks down from Sean.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great. We're all gonna be down there together. We're gonna hang out.
gonna be
We're gonna have some beers
right.
on the beach.
That's right.
It is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
I do know this. I'm
So-
sorry, yeah. That's
At least how the inception.
So that
Didn't
Saturday
realize.
morning, about like 4 o'clock in the morning, we get a phone call. My fiance's younger brother killed himself,
Wow.
and it was, we were blindsided. It was like devastating, but like we were still trying to like navigate it because like my
Yeah.
daughter is 8 years old. Well, actually, no, 7 at the time. Yeah. All she wants to do is she wants to go to the beach. She's been looking forward to it for months. She's going to be with her cousin at the beach, etc.
I didn't know what this was about, but I remember getting
Now I
the
know
text
this,
in the
yeah.
band chat with him with that exact dynamic of
Yeah.
how do I give my young daughter who can't understand this a good time while also going through the most heartbreaking time in my life.
Yeah.
Right.
So, my fiance, like testament to her, like she, like pulled herself together, did whatever she could with her family during that time, and then we ended up going down to like the beach and meeting up with my family, and like just trying to like navigate it. Like she's falling apart, but like my daughter's happy. Like I'm trying to like just balance the two things. So the next day we're at, we wake up, we're trying to just kind of like go through the day and everything. We go out to dinner and we get back to the house that we were renting, and my mom gets a phone call and she finds out from her brother that her youngest brother has just killed himself
Wow.
within
Back
a
to back.
24-hour span. So now I am balancing my mother's emotions with my fiance's emotions while also trying to like maintain
for yourself.
my me
And your
my
daughters.
daughter
Yeah.
my,
Who's
like
oblivious.
I'm trying to like like we were with my younger brother, we're just like trying to navigate it. So it was such a like 1-2 hit.
Yeah.
And it was all about like just kind of like maintaining for everybody. And when we started writing the song, it was like, fuck, like, you know, like this is
the
like,
one.
This is the one. Like this has got to be
And
about.
it started as dicking around because it's such a standard like open chord acoustic piece, like just 3 open chords that like every person who's ever played Wonderwall or picked up an acoustic guitar knows how to
I mean,
play.
it's like it's basic. But
Same
like,
as usual. It started out as
Yeah.
kind of like, haha, isn't this funny that we're playing this kind of song to him, making it this really beautiful thing.
Tell me
Yeah.
how that ties into like you know the chorus. You know,
know
that
we'll
worry
make it
through the night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's the thing. It's like, I mean, like they were like, well, it was my mom's youngest brother, like second youngest brother, but my uncle basically, and he was like my best friend. Like I love this dude. He was more of my best friend than he was my like uncle. Like I mean, we were very close in age.
Yeah.
We were only like maybe 10 years apart. You know, I mean,
10
just
years.
yeah, but like just really close. And he helped me through a lot of difficult times, and it kind of sucked that I couldn't help him through his.
Yeah.
You know, but like one of the big things is like my family would always worry about him, and then with my fiance, like her family would always worry about her brother. So like the lyrics, like for like the chorus, it's like, you know, like talking about like the mother, where it's like, you know, mama will worry through the night, and then it's like, you'll know I'll worry through the night, you know we worry through the night, and then it breaks for a second. It's like, I know you worry through the night, because I don't think they ever got like a good night's sleep where it was like they're gonna wake up tomorrow and things are gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like that's like a hard.
It is.
That's
And
a
then-
hard reality.
and then-
you know, to
yeah,
like
It's
live
that,
it, where
it's
it's
that
like,
things are never going to be
And
the
then
same.
there's
Yeah,
but
like-
there's a peace, but at the same time it's a tragedy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, when people always say it's like, well, they're at peace now. It's like, man, but like, I wish that they found it here.
Right.
Yeah.
I
You know,
and
it's like
that's the
this is
hardest
where they
part.
should have found
Right.
it.
Yeah,
You know, like
Right.
it didn't need
So
to
true.
take. It's like, okay, like they found peace. Like first of all, it's like you don't even know. You know, so you don't know if they found peace, but so you're like assuming.
Right. You're right.
And I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like they found peace, but in the like the
But no,
last
the
thing, the
family
last
too
thing, yeah, but it's like the
finds
last
peace.
thing of them would be to want to like disrupt the peace of everybody around them.
Right,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't know. But yeah, it became a deeply personal song. Once in a while, it's kind of like hard to play because it just, I don't know, kind of like depends.
Yeah, we have times at practice where you.
Yeah, like I kind of have to
Struggle to
like
get it
shut
out.
off from it. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's,
But yeah, I know, and but we get a lot of good, like a lot of people relate to that one too. That's another one, like Wishing Well.
well, I think people are,
Where
I
they're
think people
like-
are scared to talk about shit.
I'm with that.
You know, or like they're scared to be vulnerable, and it's like, man, like everybody has like this tough guy fucking attitude, and it's like the toughest thing you can do is just admitting, like, man, I'm like I'm fallible, like I can fucking be hurt.
Yep.
You know,
And
like
I can
shit can
fuck up.
bother me. I can fuck up, I can stumble, I can fall,
Yeah.
but like I'm gonna course correct, so catch me outside.
And this turned out to be like a Dr. fucking Phil
Yeah.
episode.
But anyway, we're good.
Did you guys just do a little snap?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
They did.
Did you practice that? 'Cause that wasn't part of
No, we ate up so much of his time.
I know.
No, me and Anthony. No, you don't understand.
We
Me and Anthony
really
on the
don't
way
shut
up
up.
here.
Yeah.
Me and
We don't
Anthony
shut
on the
up.
way up here said, "I don't think he knows what he's getting himself into." And
We are so long-winded.
because we can easily. People don't know how to navigate us.
We just like the bullshit.
We can easily bounce off of each other for like 9 hours, and people around us will be like, "This is
Because
fucking
we
weird."
talk about one topic for 10 seconds, then change it to 30.
Thanks for the
things.
beer, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
But yeah, Old Daggers.
We want to. So Mike commented and said, "My heart goes out to you. I can relate." So there's definitely people out
Thanks,
there
Mike.
who feel what you're saying, and I'm sure we'll catch this later on as well. Definitely something I relate to. But before we get out of here, we'll just plug your upcoming shows. So, I mean, as much as we've talked about the album, and you should definitely go listen to that album, go stream it now. It's on all major streaming platforms. I'll put the cover up here on the screen real fast.
Thanks.
And then we have 2 shows coming up. So we want to plug those quick.
Go with the 3.
Go ahead. You
We have
WaxPax Records
WaxPax
on the
Records.
28th. It is a Halloween
Halloween
party.
show.
Yes.
You must be in costume. We will
go.
be dressed as the Golden Girls.
Tickets are extraordinarily
Yeah,
limited.
Mark is very limited on his tickets because he really doesn't have a lot of space, obviously, in the thing. But it's in Berwick. Amazing dude.
Yeah,
if you are
WaxPax
out that
Records.
way, go to the store.
WaxPax.
Support him.
Very cool.
He is an awesome dude.
Shit.
He allowed me to sleep underneath his table at Pennsylvania when I was very inebriated.
We can all go get drunk and go to Knoebels.
And I bought a couple records.
And we could all go to Knoebels afterwards and get drunk and hang out.
We're
But
doing a surprise cover.
we are doing a cover song, which
never do
is
covers.
totally out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Because we don't do covers, but
it's
we're doing a
Halloween.
cover song.
And it's not a screwdriver.
Special surprise.
Harry. The second show that we have lined up, we are playing at the Kennel. Finally getting out of Northeast PA.
York.
In York, PA. We are West York specifically at the West York Inn.
November 18th.
That is November 18th. The WaxPax show is October 28th. And then we also have a show on November 17th. As long as it all plays out. Thank you, Ray. We're
Ray,
setting up
thank you.
at
Clarky's
Clarky's Billiards. It's an all ages
Clarky's.
show.
Bring
Billiards.
that ass.
All fucking
All ages.
All
Chris is
ages,
gonna hang up on
baby.
Dateline Bar.
And,
All ages.
but before we
Hickerson.
cut out here real quick, allow me to say to you,
Yes.
there's a few things out there that do things similar to you, but no one is in the scene like you are.
Right. You are
There.
you
Me
are
Me
a
and
presence.
Sean were talking on the way down how it was like the respect we have for you just because
Yeah, dude.
how many nights a week you are out and part of this scene, and it's not like you're getting rich from it. It's not like it's
Losing
not,
money.
I'm gonna leave you
your name on
$20 when I leave
And
this beer. So.
Despite
God
that, for how many years have you been doing this now?
9 years now.
For 9 years.
9 years on my own.
Did you write for the
12,
Weekender back
13.
in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, I
so
remember that.
2
Yeah.
years for the
I used to
Weekender and
read
2
your
years
stuff.
before that in local newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Kudos to you, bro.
nobody is, boots on the ground a part of the scene like you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
A lot of
That
people
means a
are
lot.
more
Yeah,
outside,
dude.
and that's
Thank you so much for that.
That's something I don't want you
Yeah.
to think ever goes unappreciated, because I'm sure sometimes it feels that way,
For
just
sure,
like
yeah.
it does for anyone in any bit of our
Right. Yeah,
industry.
absolutely. Yeah.
I know it does for the bands too.
Right.
And
Yep.
don't ever think that people don't see
And-
what you do. 'Cause
and dude,
it's unbelievable. It
Personally,
really
I
is.
read what you write and I watch your live streams all the time. So you are my conduit to what's going on here. So thank you.
So
Yeah, you
thank
definitely
you
put
for
eyes on
doing what you
things
do.
that we wouldn't have eyes on if it wasn't for you.
Yep.
Well,
And we appreciate
And
that.
there's even when we're having private conversations, when I'm out at the bar on a Friday night, there's a tremendous amount of respect and love for you and what you do. So if it ever doesn't feel that way, don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You do
And if you
unbelievable
do
things.
feel that way, point us in the direction.
But no,
We'll
seriously,
send the
thank
enforcer.
Sean will write a song about
Thank
it.
you for everything that you do for us and for
Yeah, no,
everybody in this
it's
scene.
appreciated immensely.
Thank you guys.
Thank
No,
you
man,
so
thank
much.
you,
we,
man.
we appreciate.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
appreciate you
thank you.
taking the time to talk with us.
Because we know we can be
Let us
long-winded.
talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
Now 9:30.
Like talking about ourselves, which is so fucking pretentious.
Well,
but-
that's what I do, and I'm very happy to have those conversations, especially a little more loose like this. I feel like there's just not a lot of resources where you can just kind of say what you want
You're
to
right.
say.
Yeah, just let it rip.
And
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Oh, dude,
do it
you
in an
should see us at the
uncensored
gas
sort of
station,
way.
man. We just fucking we roll along with them too. It's like, hey, did you know?
They're like, I'm just. Do you want the smokes or you want to talk?
And
for
you
now?
you need to have like a side stories where you tell, because I'm sure you have a million.
Oh, I'm
stories
sure.
that
Oh
you
yeah,
do.
he does.
That's quite a
Kidding
few.
me?
But
Yeah.
thank you, seriously.
We're there
From the
for
bottom
you.
of our hearts, thank you for
Yeah, dude,
everything
thanks
you
for
do.
having
Not
us.
for us,
Appreciate
but
it.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
Thank
everybody.
you guys for getting,
Thank
Yeah.
brutally honest and sharing
Yeah,
some of
dude.
your personal stories and stuff
Listen,
like that.
man.
That
I mean,
means
like
a lot.
that's what, but like, I mean, like that's what the songs are in general. It's like they may be simple, but they're honest, and they're always going to be honest, and we're always going to be honest because like we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to everybody around us. I mean, like we're not gonna make shit up to pander.
Yeah.
It's about like connecting with people on like a human level. I mean, like just
And it's
shit.
just,
It's
just
like
purging and like really the therapy we were talking about. Like, just being vulnerable, I guess, in your case, to like letting people
see
in.
that he called me a pussy.
But thank you for giving us a platform.
Yeah,
and for
thank you.
giving everybody a
Yeah,
platform.
dude.
to
That's
do
super
this.
cool,
Thank you.
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in and
Hell yeah.
sticking around.
Thank you.
I think we had a great crowd pretty much the whole time
Thanks,
we were doing
Teresa.
this. So
Appreciate
appreciate your
you.
Thank you
comments.
so much.
If you enjoyed this, your likes, your shares
us right now.
are so appreciated.
That turned you so long.
Sound-
Teresa's really
Great
the
sound.
unsung hero here because she's the one who's not only got to listen to the sound and
Yeah.
watch the cameras and everything like that too, but when we go over, she does not complain.
And listen to our shitty stories.
And then,
Not yet.
Yeah.
She's
At
like,
no
I-
point-
Maybe
the whole
this,
time
maybe
I
after
was
this
like,
one, we'll see.
at no point was she looking at her watch.
I'm so sorry. We owe you
Thank
a
you.
drink when we see you at the
Thank
beach
you so
spot.
much.
You probably will.
I will, and I will get you.
Thank you.
We will
Northeastern
stick to that,
Pennsylvania.
We will take care of you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you all.
much,
Thank
dude.
you guys
Thank
so
you.
much.
NEPA season,
Awesome.
man. It's the best.
And we will see you here next Wednesday.
Be
And
here.
We'll be here again next one. You don't want that.
No, we're not leaving.
You do not want that.
We will still be talking on this couch.
Well, for you people who like punk rock, we definitely have some more punk rock coming for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Stay tuned for that.
Awesome, man.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Night, everybody.
Oh.
Later.
Oh, come on. Why does it do this every time?